Today's episode of Darkness Radio is brought to you by Microdose. Get out of pain, get out of anxiety, and start treating yourself a little bit better. Try Microdose. Microdose is a CBD THC gummy that will get you out of pain, get you out of anxiety, and get you into feeling good again. To learn more about microdosing THC, go to microdose.com and use the code DARKNESS to get free shipping and 30% off your first order. Links can be found in the show description, but again, that's microdose.com, code DARKNESS. Welcome in, everybody, to the Wednesday edition of Darkness Radio. It's a supernatural news and Parashare edition of Darkness Radio. I'm Tim Dennis. Right across from me, right over there, is the BCB, the Big Cuddly Bear, Beer City Bruiser. How you doing, Bruiser?
I'm doing great, Cruiser. I'm doing fantastic, minus the sports news you and I are talking about off air. Kind of frustrating, but
oh my gosh, I think that's why
we truck on, and that's why I'm happy that we're doing this, because it can get my mind off that evil stuff.
That's right. I think that's why I'm a little tripped up as we start the program. Just the frustration of our local sports teams is one of those things that'll get you going. But I know the people that are in for paranormal are not in for sports, so we'll leave that talk behind.
We'll leave it. We'll just say we need this. You and I need this as a palate cleanser. No matter how much nightmare fuel it throws at us today, we need it.
And boy, do we have nightmare fuel for you today, folks. Let's just give you a quick little headline thing to shoot out at you here to get your palate wet, if you're ready for this. Bruiser, here's the deal. Don't plan anything quick for the weekend. You may have some asteroids flying at you this weekend.
Oh, okay.
May tear you up a little bit.
Yeah. Definitely take off this weekend.
Yeah, take this weekend off. Turns out that AI is at it again. I think it's safe to say if you were looking forward to Zombie Fest, the only way you'll find it is at Red Lobster. I think I've got the AI thing sewn up. I'm going to get a P.O. box now so you people can start sending me Twinkies. I won the war. Not only is AI created a new form of alternate physics, but now they figured out how to show us what selfies will look like at the end of the world.
Oh, okay. So like a selfie with a big nuclear bomb going off in the back?
Or what will look like at the end of the world.
Oh.
How do you like that for nightmare fuel?
That's terrible.
Isn't that horrible? AI is so creepy.
I have the same thoughts on AI that you do. Let's just leave it alone, folks. Leave it alone. There hasn't been a good AI story to come out of this since I've started the program with you.
There really hasn't. People may say, you know what, Tim, you are so negative and defeatist. It's not that I am, it's that AI is. And I just like to point it out to you so you don't get too comfortable with it.
We're not out here breaking 7-year-old fingers, you know.
Right.
AI is.
AI, you're right. AI is, Bruiser, not us. I do have a story here. And I'm trying to see if I pulled it up or not. I saw that. Oh, yes, I do. On top of that, you know, we talked to you a little bit about being able to get ALEXA, which I have one right next to me, to show you that I'm not negative about all this stuff. How we could get it to use grandma's voice to speak to you.
Oh, that's right. That creepy, you can get the dead people voice. Yes, right? Yes.
Well, Amazon's new invention could let you speak to the dead. In other words, it could read you a story at night. We're going to delve into that a little bit more. There's a new article about it that goes a little bit more in depth about it. So we're going to, it's been shown off actually at an expo.
I wonder how many people came running out of that expo screaming, just terrified.
Yeah.
Or how many triggered panic attacks there were because they heard a dead loved one come through a little speaker.
Oh, It just freaks me out, Bruiser. It just freaks me out. So we'll talk about that as well. That's in today's show. And also, if you're not creeped out enough, if we haven't turned on the little nightmare fuel drip in your brain, what does dying really feel like? We've got an audio daily double today. A little story for you to play from the BBC that will tell you that death is a trip and how new research links near death and a DMT experience. So we'll take that little trip with you as well. And trust me, folks, we'll get to this in a second. An Egyptian mummy's head is discovered in an English attic. We'll talk to you.
If you're going to store it someplace, that's probably the best place.
Yeah, we'll talk to you about that. And yes, people in Wisconsin are still weird. I'm sorry, Bruiser. Not you. You're one of the nicer ones. But a Wisconsin couple is opening a museum to show off their cat figurine collection. We'll cover that at the end of the show today. To lighten things up before
to lighten everything up to palate cleanse us, right?
That's right. Let's start with your plans for the weekend, Bruiser. You can tell us, first of all, what you wanted to plan to do this weekend if you want, and then we'll laugh at your plans for this weekend because they're not.
It's actually a weekend off. I planned on to do some yard work around the house. There's some weeds that got to get pulled. I got Ziggy Starpup. My wife got her a nice little pool, so we're going to try that out, see how she likes the water.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh. So... Well, when you're
not encouraging me right now.
No,
you're just like, oh, really? Huh? Well, check
that's
this
nice.
out.
That's cute. See if Ziggy Starpup can dodge the asteroids while she's out swimming. How quick is she?
She's fast. She's real fast, but I'm not. So she might dodge it, but I don't know if I'm going to.
Oh my gosh. Well, my plans for the weekend were to, maybe enjoy a nice book from one of our future guests and read up on that. Maybe get a little sun this weekend. I didn't have to work up at KNSI, so I can enjoy my last moments screaming in sheer panic. Two skyscraper-sized asteroids are barreling towards Earth this weekend. Both rocks will pass well beyond the moon's orbit, which not good. No, they're zooming towards Earth this weekend, with one making its closest approach Friday, the second whizzing by us on Saturday. Mm-hmm.
So if we wake up Sunday, we're lucky, is what you're saying.
That's right. If you get to enjoy Sunday morning brunch and have a couple of mimosas on me, that means that you're safe. That's good, right?
Yes, that I like. Actually, I don't like mimosas, so I'll watch people enjoy them.
Learn to enjoy them. if Sunday comes, pour one and learn to enjoy it.
I think I will. Yeah. As hey, this mimosa is dedicated to the two asteroids that did not hit me.
That's right. Yeah, hold up your first glass and say, first asteroid, dubbed 2016 CZ31. This one's on you. It'll fly by at around 7 p.m. Eastern time on Friday. It'll whiz by at an estimated 34,560 miles an hour. That's exactly 34,530 miles an hour faster than any Twins pitcher could ever throw a ball. That's what I've learned. Astronomers estimate that the asteroid measures about 400 feet across at its widest point, making it about as wide as a 40-story building is tall.
Oh, geez.
That's a big one.
That's a big one.
That's a big one. The asteroid will safely miss our planet, passing at about, this is what they say, this again in quotes, what they say.
Okay.
About 1,740,000 miles out from Earth.
Oh, so that's what? About a 3-hour drive?
Yeah, it's about a 3-hour drive, exactly. Or more than 7 times the average distance between Earth and the moon. Unless. I hate the unless. You're throwing in the unless. Now this
that's
is
that's like a but.
This is not in
the big but.
This is the big proverbial big but of the sentence. Now this is not in the article, so don't take this as the gospel truth. Something plays celestial ping pong with it and moves it closer.
Oh, like you're saying, like hits something bigger and it alters its course in some way
and gets it closer to us.
Oh.
That's why I'm warning you, because you never know.
Because it could screw with the gravitational pull if it interferes with the moon, doesn't it? Because the moon's where our gravity, that's where the waves and all that is because of the moon.
I think.
This thing messes that up. That could really screw things up down here.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, we could have cats and dogs living together, Twinkies falling from the sky. Yeah.
Oh, well, I wouldn't turn on the Twinkies from the sky. I'm just saying. Yeah. According to NASA, the space rock makes close approaches to Earth. That's my word. Approaches to Earth every few years, with the next one scheduled for January of 2028. On Saturday, a second, even larger asteroid will skim past our planet, albeit at a greater distance from Earth. Okay, maybe I misread the article. That asteroid, named 2013 CU-83, as in see ya.
CU-83.
CU-83 measures.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks for stopping by. Measures approximately 600 feet across at its widest visible point and will pass by at about 4,320,000 miles from Earth, or at about 18 times the average distance between Earth and the moon. Okay, so maybe it's not that close. I might have exaggerated a little.
Will we be able to see them, do you think? Or no, because they're not entering our atmosphere.
Maybe if you got a really good telescope at home. You know, the one that you look across the neighborhood at the woman in the window with?
Oh, yeah, the one that's on the other side of town.
Yeah, exactly. The colossal space rock will be traveling at 13,153 miles an hour, or just a little bit slower than the Flash, when it nears Earth at 7:37 p.m. Eastern Time. I got a little bit of a nervous tick there. Both of these.
I thought you were throwing the exact seconds. So 7:37,
yes.
7 hours, 37 minutes, and 37 seconds.
Yes, and 37 milliseconds. Both of these close encounters are significantly further afield than the asteroid 2022 NF, which came within 56,000 miles, or about 23% the average distance between Earth and the moon, back on July 7th. I bet you didn't know you were in danger back on July 7th.
I just factor in that I think I'm in danger at all points in time because I'm not told everything. So I just kind of live with, okay, what I don't know, I don't know.
Well, there you go. But, and this is, again, the proverbial big but in the sentence, Bruiser. I bet you didn't know we were in danger today.
No, really?
Yeah.
Is there one coming now?
No, not an asteroid.
Okay.
Much worse. We are in danger of terminal sunburn today.
Terminal sunburn. Okay. Mm-hmm. So like we're forever sunburned.
Yep. Okay, people, you may be saying, Tim, now you're really over-exaggerating. Yeah, a solar storm from a hole in the sun hits our Earth today.
Ooh.
Yep. High-speed solar winds from a hole in the sun's atmosphere are set to hit the Earth's magnetic field today, triggering a minor G1 geomagnetic storm.
Oh, okay. So compasses are going to go crazy, and this magnet's going to go spinning out of control, and you'll need SPF 1 million. We'll be fine.
Okay, sure. Yeah. There's that. Yeah. Forecasters at the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration Space Weather Prediction Center, we call it SWIPIC. Made the prediction after observing that gaseous material is flowing from a southern hole in the sun's atmosphere.
My wife tells me that every night.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, she slaps me and goes, "Would you stop that gaseous odor coming from your southern hole?" I'll be like, "Hey, I ate, you ate good food today."
That's right. You know it's good when you've got gaseous material flowing from your southern hole.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe I have the. Do I have the? Yeah, I have one of these for you. There you go. Coronal holes are areas in the sun's upper atmosphere where our star's electrified gas or plasma is cooler and less dense. Yeah.
How do scientists write this without laughing? I bet they're giggling the whole time they're writing this. Like, how much would have called this kind of hole? There's gaseous material from the hole.
They were laughing when they went, let's see, gaseous materials flowing from a southern hole in the sun's atmosphere. Ha, ha, ha. They did. Such holes are also where the sun's magnetic field lines, instead of looping back in on themselves. Oh, you never want one to loop back on yourself.
No, looping back is bad.
Yeah, that's extra laundry detergent right there.
Yeah, it's like crossing the streams, never cross the streams.
Yeah. beam outward into space. This enables solar material to surge out in a torrent that travels at speeds up to 1.8 million miles per hour, according to Exploratorium. That's a great band, by the way, and also a science museum in San Francisco. On planets with strong magnetic fields like our own, this barrage of solar debris is absorbed, triggering geomagnetic storms. During these storms, Earth's magnetic field gets compressed slightly by the waves of highly energetic particles. These particles trickle down magnetic field lines near the poles, by the way, and agitate molecules in the atmosphere, releasing energy in the form of light to create colorful auroras similar to the ones that make up the northern lights. The storm produced by this debris will be weak. Aw, sad.
Aw, what a weak storm.
Yeah. As a G1 geomagnetic storm, it has the potential to cause minor fluctuations in power grids, if you notice that today, and impact some satellite functions. So your DirecTV is going to really suck today, including those for mobile devices and GPS systems. So your cell phone may not work as well today as well.
As long as it doesn't tell me to turn in a lake, I'm okay.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
Turn right here. There's no road. I said turn right here. Okay.
Yeah. Don't follow that either. It will also bring the aurora as far south as Michigan and Maine. So you may see an aurora right there in Michigan and Maine. So there you go.
Which, if you've never seen them before, are beautiful.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever seen them live, but they're gorgeous.
Yeah. So you got that to look forward to.
Yeah. Well, I don't. I'm not near Michigan or Maine.
True.
You're closer than I am.
Listeners in that area will be able to see it.
Yeah, and if they do, take a picture and tag us in it.
That's right. On top of that, Bruiser.
Oh.
This is just the doom and gloom edition of.
This is fueled by nightmare fuel. The Cruiser and the Bruiser present nightmare fuel. Keep you up all night long.
There's something that you can be hit by that comes straight from the depths of hell.
Are you talking about Ozzy's new album that just dropped? Oh,
I see what you did there. No, it's worse than COVID. It's worse than any disease you can think of. It's called the mysterious Hell's Itch syndrome.
Oh, I don't want that.
And it's afflicting thousands in America.
Why do I have a feeling this is going to be in a very uncomfortable spot on the body? Like just right inside your butthole. Like you can't, you know what I mean? Like you want to get it, but you can't quite get it.
Do you have
on the inside of your nose?
Do you have one of those
just out of reach?
Do you have one of those metal bear claws at home? I'm not talking the wooden claw. I'm talking
I have the metal extendable.
Yeah,
of course I do.
Yeah, I have them all over the house.
I do too.
Yeah.
So
many headlines over the past many months have been about COVID, but there are other health concerns out there afflicting other Americans. Monkeypox, one of them. There are states declaring monkeypox as an emergency. And one of them seems to be afflicting many people this summer, and it has a very disturbing name. It's called Hell's Itch.
My mind goes to the worst places when you just go and call Hell's Itch.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And as if the name weren't bad enough, doctors aren't really sure what causes the painful condition. There's pain behind the itch.
Oh, no.
Yeah. What is known that it comes from sunburn. See what I did there? We did the corona, and now we're talking about sunburn.
Yeah.
For some people, sunburn clears up after a few uncomfortable days, but for those who wind up with Hell's Itch, after 48 hours or so, the burn explodes into an incredibly intense itch that, when scratched, is remarkably painful.
Oh.
Now imagine you're one of those people that, Bruiser, I'm not talking about, just getting a farmer tan or just removing the shirt and getting, an upper torso tan, but not even getting a nice Speedo or swimsuit tan or bikini tan. I'm talking about one of those people who likes the all over tan, my friend. Imagine getting the all over tan.
I'm one of those people. I love doing that.
Getting the all over tan?
I do it in the tanning bed, but Yeah.
Okay.
I love that.
Now imagine.
Because I heard about you could do the perineum, like get that, and that builds up your energy.
Say it ain't so. You get the perineum?
Yeah, I don't know. No. After Josh Brolin's experience, and now you're telling me about Hell's Itch. Could you imagine that right there?
Can you imagine having to go down there with the little metal claw?
Oh, and it just burns and hurts even more? No.
You got to love it. Okay, so imagine doing that, and then all of a sudden you get an episode of the Hell's Itch. Now, say you go out in the backyard, you're fenced in.
Yep.
Lord, fence me in. You're in the backyard. You got nature's tanning bed out there.
It's perfect, yep.
It's perfect. The only thing watching you is a couple of chipmunks. And you're out there, and you're soaking in the vitamin D. Everything's perfect. You get a little bake on one side. You flip over, and you expose the buns to the sun. And you come in, and you go, oh, I got a little itch. And you grab a little metal claw, and you're like, oh, that feels so good. That feels so good. That doesn't feel good anymore.
Oh, my God, that's so painful.
Right? One sufferer describes it as being stabbed by a sharp point of 1,000 compasses, while lemon juice and itching powder was rubbed into the wounds.
Ooh. I've had lemon juice in wounds. That's not good.
While another on the subreddit dedicated to the condition, there's a subreddit, by the way.
Oh, there's got to be.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
This is national news. Come on.
Stated, I feel as if there are fire ants crawling underneath my skin and they're pissed off. This is the worst pain I've ever had. And that includes breaking my collarbone.
Oh.
One went as far as to say, I want the sweet relief of death. Please make this shit stop. I hate everything and everyone.
Oh, this is just sounds terrible.
Yeah. Unfortunately for those with it, there hasn't been too much research into the phenomena. I don't have it up on the button bar.
Phenomena.
Yeah. The Cleveland Clinic wrote about it, though, quoting Dr. Melissa Pylang, who explained anyone who has a sunburn could get it, but it seems to be more common in fair-skinned people and people who have been at higher altitudes when the sun is more intense, like in the mountains. Oh, so no sunning yourself naked in the mountains, that's for sure.
No, there's no going skiing topless in Aspen.
That's right.
And all you redheads, because all redheads are fair-skinned.
Yep.
Cover yourself up.
That's right.
Cover it up.
That's right. As for what in the body causes it, doctors don't know, but they think it may be due to damage in the nerve endings at the site of the burn, triggering an overreaction.
Nerve pain is one of the worst. You know this. Nerve pain is terrible.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I can't imagine, because nerve pain is electrical. Mm-hmm. So you add the burning sensation. Ooh.
Yeah.
Ouch.
That burning, stabbing sensation. I have neuropathy. It's not good.
Yeah.
So it triggers an overreaction. However, as one doctor wrote in the Journal of Travel Medicine, the true nature of Hell's Itch is still a conundrum, though it appears to be a brief, self-limited epiphenomenon. Oh, they don't make a song for that.
Epiphenomenon.
Epiphenomenon. Producing considerable discomfort. The good news, as it only appears to affect a small percentage of people, and mostly on their shoulders and upper back. Oh, okay.
Oh,
so
that's good. That's good. So you can do the nude tan.
Yeah, so you don't get the Hell's Taint itch, evidently. Who knew?
That's a new album dropping tomorrow.
Hell's Taint Itch, new on Arista Records. So it only appears to affect a small percentage of people, mostly on the shoulders and upper back. As for what to do when you get it, most people suggest not putting aloe or anything topical on it.
Really?
Yep, as it tends to make it worse. Instead, do your antihistamines like Benadryl. That helps, it says, and so does ibuprofen, as well as a soothing oatmeal bath. Dr. Palang noted, be really careful not to scratch the itch because it doesn't relieve it at all and often makes it worse. You can also create tears in your skin.
Ouch.
That can be a portal of entry for bacteria and could lead to infection. Of course, the best thing to do is always put on plenty of broad spectrum sunscreen with an SPF of at least 30 when you're outside, and perhaps even wear sun protective clothing. So there you go.
I love a good oatmeal bath. Because you can take a bath and have a meal at the same time.
Ew.
There's a little cinnamon in there, some chocolate. You're good.
Ew.
I'm making the oatmeal. I'm not just going to let it go to waste.
No.
It's my juice is in there. So
No. Oh, okay, we've hit the threshold with me, I think.
No oatmeal baths for you?
No, I'm not considering myself on that deal. That's no. I've always found that kind of gross, to be honest with you.
Covering yourself in oatmeal? It's fun. Better than cottage cheese.
Oh, come on now. Come on now. I think it's time to move on to the next story, to be honest.
I think so too.
Let's move on. Since 2008, U.S. commercial pilots have observed more than 60 UFOs, believe it or not.
I believe that.
You believe it?
Yeah. Commercial pilots, you said?
Commercial pilots, yeah.
Yeah, like, with as much flying as I've done, I'm fairly disappointed I haven't seen something weird yet. And you think these guys fly for a living, you know, they're up there for anywhere from an hour to 16, 17, 18 hours. I'm pretty sure they've seen something.
I'm surprised it's only 60.
Yeah.
Out of, since we're talking
4 years?
14 years since 2008.
Okay, 14, yeah. That 60 I think is in the low end.
Yeah. American ufologist and researcher Kyle Warfel obtained a file that describes UFO sightings by U.S. commercial pilots over the past 14 years. He was able to do this thanks to a Freedom of Information Act request. A file compiled by the Federal Aviation Administration contained more than 60 UFO sightings from 2008 to 2022. It is pointed out that some of these cases could simply be private drones launched into the flight zone by an irresponsible citizen. That's pretty high up for a drone to be.
I was going to say, I don't know how high drones go, but that's real high up. And I know, isn't it illegal to fly drones that high?
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But others defied any logical or rational explanations. One of them, reported in July of 2020, was a very large object in the shape of an elongated disc or cigar, which had no tail or ailerons and was moving very fast. This mysterious object was silvery white in color, almost transparent, and made no sound when moving. Another UFO was an unexplained star-like object that quickly changed altitude before suddenly going into hover mode. It is possible that there were many more such sightings among commercial pilots, but the fact is that not everyone found the courage to report to their superiors about the sighting of a strange flying object, to the detriment of their reputation. It is stated that in 2013, when Arizona noticed a mysterious line of fire on their radar, they contacted the pilot of a nearby aircraft, and he confirmed that he saw these objects visually. At the same time, the pilot flatly refused to officially report his UFO sighting to anyone. In some of these cases on the list, UFOs seem to have deliberately targeted passenger airlines. Each year, hundreds of thousands of UAP sightings are recorded around the world, and hundreds of thousands more remain unrecorded. And last year's Pentagon report, with a preliminary assessment of these objects, shows that this problem is real and cannot be ignored, says Kyle Werfel. He is convinced that the U.S. government knows exactly what these objects are, but for some reason choose to keep this information secret. We have the ability to see license plates using satellites, and yet we don't have enough data to conclude what these objects are, he says. Or
well, because they don't have license plates.
Well, there's that too. Or maybe they think we can't be trusted with the truth, asks Warfel. Well, you asked some very good questions there, Kyle, so there you go.
It'll be interesting to see now that it's more mainstream and more publicly accepted, seeing UFO and UAP incidents, to how many pilots like that come out and say, oh yeah, no, I have seen it. Because now they don't have to worry about being ridiculed or I don't know what it is when they get their license taken away. But you know what I mean? Like, it's accepted now, especially now that the government's acknowledging it.
Very true. Very true. You know something, Bruiser? Speaking of pains and the pain of not having your license plate on your UFO, which we all know can be a pain in itself. I've had some pains lately, let me tell you, but I've had an easy way to get rid of those pains. And it's very simple, my friend. It's those microdose gummies. And those gummies are so good when it comes to getting rid of my pain. You know, I've got, lately it's been the lower back. The lower back has just been giving me trouble. But it's so easy to get rid of because our friends at Microdose Gummies have been providing just the thing I need to get rid of it. And you may say to yourself, what is microdose, Tim? What is microdose? Microdose is real easy. And the term microdose, you know, is generally associated with psychedelics. A lot of times you probably heard of microdose. If not, just so you know, all sorts of people are microdosing daily. You know,
Yep.
They're feeling healthier by doing that.
Sure.
And feeling healthier, performing better. Microdose is just taking a little bit of medication, you know, and putting it into your system and getting the benefits of that medication without getting the loginess that you get from that medication. And Microdose has taken that medication, put it in a gummy form, which is delicious, by the way. It's a delicious gummy that's getting you that medication that you need and getting you through your day. And Bruiser, I know it's getting you through your day.
It sure is. You saw me the other day when we recorded for the True Crime Tuesday. You even said yourself, you're like, brother, you look rough. And I said, I had a rough weekend. I had the underwater needle point going on. I had to wrestle a guy bigger than me. I was in a 10-man and just beat up. And I took my gummies right before I recorded, so I was able to have the energy to get through the recording, and we ended up having a great show. And I take those every day. I swear by them. I'll take them before I go to the gym because it gives me the energy I need. It gives me the pain is gone. It's not. It feels. I feel lubricated. It's the best way to describe it. I feel like. I always say it. I'm the Tin Man in Wizard of Oz and Lumi Labs with the microdoses. Dorothy coming up with the oil can and letting me go. And I feel amazing when I take them. And then at night when I take them, I can sleep through the night. I'm not shifting, trying to find that just right position. You know, and Bruiser the cat's not angry because I'm constantly moving him. I take my gummies right before bed. You should take about half hour before bed, and by the time I lay down, I feel good and get a good night's sleep.
Yeah, I'm telling you, they do amazing things for pain. Like you said, for sleep, I'm getting much deeper sleep, much better sleep on my end. And sleep is a heck of a thing for me. I tell you, on my end, I've told you guys before, you guys are familiar with my stuff, but I have broken vertebrae. I have 3 broken vertebrae. I've got other issues going on, but in the neck, back, knees, ankles, shoulders, head and toes. I mean, we can go on forever, but there's a lot of broken parts on your boy Timmy. And so sleep is hard to come by. But with the microdose gummies, I'm getting plenty of good sleep and uninterrupted sleep, which is a new thing for me. Uninterrupted sleep is hard to come by in my world, but I'm getting that uninterrupted sleep, which is good to know. You know, the cool thing, Bruiser, is that we're also getting correspondence from our listeners that have tried microdose gummies. And keep it coming, folks. Tim@darknessradio.com. If you've tried microdose gummies and you're getting good success with it, I want to hear from your stories. I want to be able to read them here on the air and tell people about your experience. I've heard from a few different people now that they've tried the product, they've tried microdose gummies, and they're having good success. And it's not just with pain. I've had some people who have had issues with anxiety that have tried them and are having good success. And they said they're feeling calmer, they're feeling easier throughout their day, which is good to hear. You can use it for a creative boost. If you need a creative boost and you know you're lacking some creativity, you need some creativity in your job, you need some creativity, just maybe you're an artist, you need creativity there, you can use it. I
passed the word along to some underwater needle pointers, and they swear, because when they say creativity, what are you talking about? So just try these. Initially gave it to them for pain and anxiety, and then informed them about the creativity thing. They went on, ordered their bottle using the code that you're about to give, and they said when they took the creative amount, because on the back there's that label, they said they were able to come up with stuff for their character. And because there was no anxiety, there was nothing distracting them. They were just able to free flow in their brains what their character could do. And a lot of them had some tryouts coming up, and they're really excited because they feel more focused and ready to go for these tryouts.
There you go. There you go. Also, another benefit, you're talking again about wrestling and along with wrestlers, working out recovery. These gummies also help you with your workout, your recovery time. It helps, again, with the build back of the broken down muscle fibers. You're going to want to use them for workout recovery. And even Bruiser's told you, as he's getting broken down in the ring, it's helping with the recovery as well.
Yep, I take them before I work out, and I take them, at night. So I swear by them. I thought, and my wife always calls me a snake oil person. And I said, you know what, you try them, because she has a bad hip. And she tried them, and she said, oh my God, these are amazing. I said, see? Yeah. We know what we're doing.
Yeah, exactly.
Not blowing smoke.
Exactly. Like Bruiser says, these microdose gummies deliver perfect entry-level doses, and it's a combination of CBD and THC, but it delivers that perfect entry-level dose of THC that helps you feel just the right amount of good, and that's what you need. And I'm telling you, folks, it's one of those things that you want to get in on right now, because this may not last forever. I'm just telling you that right now. Microdose, and this is the beautiful thing, microdose is available nationwide because it does deliver the legal amount of THC in each and every gummy. So microdose is available nationwide. To learn more about microdosing THC, it's real simple. You just go to microdose.com, use the code DARKNESS to get free shipping and 30% off your first order. Links are available in the show description, but again, it's microdose.com and the code DARKNESS at checkout. Listen, you want to get out of pain right now. You want to start sleeping better. You want to get rid of anxiety. You want to enjoy the moment. You want to get that creative boost. You want to help with your workout and recovery. Do it right now. You deserve to do better in life. You deserve to treat yourself better. Do it right now. Microdose is available nationwide. Learn more about microdosing THC. Go to microdose.com. Use the code DARKNESS to get free shipping and 30% off your first order. The link is in the show description, but again, it's microdose.com. Use the code DARKNESS and do it today. Stay tuned, folks. When we come back, we'll tell you a couple of things about Bigfoot. One, I guess he's big in Texas. We'll find out more about that in just a moment. And AI. More nightmare fuel about AI. Oh boy, do we have more about AI. It's coming up next on a Supernatural News Wednesday right here on the Best in Paranormal Podcasting. This is Darkness Radio. Welcome back to the Best in Paranormal Podcasting. This is Darkness Radio. I'm Tim Dennis. Right over there is the Beer City Bruiser. Bruiser, you know what? Before we get to any stories, I should pull up a Parashare. I believe I have a Parashare this week for us.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
I love hearing from our listeners. These Parashares have been just amazing. You can keep sending them in, folks. This is one of my favorite parts of the program, because we're actually hearing from listeners with their own personal experience, no matter what it is. And it's so good to hear. And I want to remind people, too, that if you want to send in a Parashare, just send an email to tim@darknessradio.com with your real paranormal experience, and we'll get it on the air here, and we'll even weigh in if you want us to weigh in. If you don't want us to weigh in, just say that. Just say it in the email. Just say, hey, Cruiser and Bruiser, shut your mouth about this. and we'll do so. This one comes from Corey, and it says, greetings, Cruiser and Bruiser. Today I'm retelling a tale from my past, and one that hasn't been told to the BCB, and as I'd love to hear his thoughts on it. So, well, you're going to get it, Corey. So how do you like that? Now, even though I haven't worked in this building in 6 years, I'm not going to give away the exact location or the name out of respect to them. What I can tell you is that it's somewhere in the middle of Wisconsin, and it's a very popular tourist destination with multiple restaurants and plenty of things for people to do. That being said, this place is very haunted.
I want to say that this happened in 2008, and I was working the counter of the fast food, in quotes, type restaurant with one of my best friends there. Just having an early morning conversation while we waited for some customers to show up. I had started working here the previous fall, and by then had heard of the different paranormal stories that had occurred, including random fireballs, full-body apparitions in the kitchen, and so on. Now that's a hoppin' fast food restaurant.
That's a place to go. And I think I know where he's speaking of, with his little, I think he threw in his little, not going to say where it is, but it's this in the description. I think I know, because I think I've been to where he's talking about.
Okay.
So I'm curious to see what his experience was.
Okay. He also says there was a regular ghost named Charlie, or known as Charlie, at this restaurant.
Okay. Same place that I'm thinking of. So
okay.
This is great. I'm glad somebody else had an experience there.
Okay. He says, as my friend and I were talking, we heard a very audible click. We both looked in the direction of the soda machine, expecting to see a coworker getting some ice. The thing is, there wasn't anyone there. But the latch for the ice was shoved back in the open position, and the machine was pouring ice. Just as quickly as that happened, the latch went back to the closed position, and the latch for the Diet Cola button kicked back to the open position, and the soda poured out, all into the drain, because there wasn't even a cup involved. The latch for the soda then went back to the closed position, and my friend and I looked at the machine, then at each other before nearly shouting, "What the F?" After a couple of moments, I realized that I had to investigate, even if I didn't know anything about the inner workings of a soda machine. I knew from watching Jay and Grant on Ghost Hunters that some paranormal experiences could be a simple mechanical malfunction. Very true, Corey.
Good for you, for never having the experience investigating.
Mm-hmm. He said, I checked the hoses, the wires that I could get to, and even looked at each of the latches. And there was nothing wrong with it as far as I could tell. I went back to my friend and told her, we got to tell the supervisor, I think that it was Charlie messing with us.
Yeah.
Okay. He said we went to the office as soon as we could and told our supervisor the story. He looked at us and simply said, sounds like Charlie to me. This wasn't even the wildest experience I had there, but it was the first time I had ever seen a physical representation of paranormal phenomena. Thanks for the platform, fellas. Y'all are doing great. Signed, Corey.
That's an amazing story. And that restaurant I've had experiences in, not with the soda machine, but I've talked to a few cooks that were there and saw the full body apparition. This is an amazing story. And what I really like about this story was, instead of right away going, oh, it's a ghost, it's this, they took the time to process it and go, wait a minute, I'm going to check this out, see what's going on, and did everything. You don't need to know a lot about a soda machine to know how a soda machine works. You know what I mean?
True.
And what I really like about it, too, is the fact that the ghost wanted ice and a soda. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You know, so that's two different mechanical contraptions being moved.
Yep.
Independently.
Yep.
You know what I mean? That's, if it's a malfunctioning machine, you're not going to get both individually like they saw it. You know what I mean? It's not going to be an individual. It's going to be the ice and the soda all comes out at once. And it's not going to be just one soda. It's probably going to be a few. Right. You know, and normally when with those soda machines, the common thing with them is when you push the glass in, if it's dirty or if it's malfunction, when you pull the glass away, the button stays in the on position and you have to physically move it forward. Yep. That's usually the normal malfunction with those machines.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, so I 100% believe it was his ghost. I know if the place that I'm thinking of, they're speaking of, I know of, I've talked to at least a dozen people that have had experiences there.
Wow.
Even just eating in there and getting touched or feeling like someone brushed by them.
Huh.
You know, that's the experience I had, is it felt like someone brushed by me.
Huh.
So, yeah. So this is great because I can add it to, if it's the same restaurant I'm thinking of.
Okay.
But I you know, without actually being physically there to look at the machine and debunk it myself, I think they did, because the first thing they did was go over and check everything that could possibly go wrong with this machine, and nothing could.
Yeah. Huh. Interesting.
Thank you. That makes me miss home now.
Aw, see, look what you did, Corey. That's all right. You can always. That's why they make airplanes. See?
Exactly, and I'm going to be back there in December. So
there you go. Moving on, there's a spate. We're going to get into some Bigfoot stuff now. There's a spate of Bigfoot sightings sparking a new theory that the mythical beast could be real. We go over across the pond, not the pond in your backyard, but, the big pond. A photograph of a mysterious figure has caused a farm manager to quit his job after numerous supposed Bigfoot sightings in the area, or there were in the area, while animals on the farm have been going missing. Another Bigfoot sighting has been made just days after video footage of an unidentified mammal was seen in the same area, sparking more theories that the beast could be real. Donnie Hicks owns a farm. Actually, we're going to Tennessee by way of England. It's an English newspaper.
We're just flying around the world to get to Tennessee. Gotcha.
I don't know where the hell I am, to be honest with you. I know I'm sitting in my studio in Minnesota. That's all I know.
You're going the long way to get to Tennessee. I know a shorter way, Tim. I know a shorter. You literally can go from your Minneapolis to Nashville airport.
You know what I need? I need a cute nurse with a short skirt at this point. I think I'm just getting to the point where I'm just getting too damn old is what I am. Donnie Hicks owns a farm in Tennessee. It says USA. How quaint.
Now this is where the AI is going to come in. The story's making fun of you now.
Yes, it is. Where a spate of Bigfoot sightings have recently been made, including a half-man, half-dog creature. That is not a Bigfoot.
No, that is not. That's more like a Beast of Bray Road, which is my favorite cryptid. And I do have to say cryptid because it was pointed out to me. I was saying crypto.
Yeah, it's a cryptid. Yes.
It's a cryptid.
Yes.
And the Beast of Bray Road is one of my favorite cryptids.
Yes. And it was caught on camera, that half-man, half-dog creature. He was unnerved recently when he noticed that animals were going missing from the farm, and he couldn't explain what had happened to them, but then he saw the creature. He has no idea what it is, but he's scared for his life, as one witness called it El Diablo Yeti.
The Devil Yeti, huh?
Yeah, the Devil Yeti. And now he's shared a picture of the beast with Bigfoot theorists in hopes of identifying the huge bipedal animal. Talking to Facebook, Donnie wrote, "I am new here, but something is..." Who's new to Facebook? Come on.
Do you think he's new to Facebook or new to the cryptid world?
That's like saying I'm new to AOL.
Yeah, I'm new to MySpace.
Jesus, I'm new to Facebook. I'm new here, but something is... Maybe he's new to the forum.
That's what I'm thinking, like the cryptids and all that.
I am new here, but something is going on in Middle Tennessee with several alleged and rumored sightings of Bigfoot. Is this what I think it is or could be? It is not my photo, but from a farmhand that sent it to me since all of my chickens are missing. I think we've all had that problem at one time or another. My chickens are missing today.
Yeah.
I don't know I don't know what to do or think here. He went on to say, he added in the comments, "I truly don't know, but I am remounting my game cameras in new pasture locations." Interesting.
That's smart.
My farm manager is completely freaked out by El Diablo Yeti, and that was his words. Donnie went on to say in another comment that the farm manager told him, "I can no longer work on your farm. The image is blurry, but appears to show what looked like a figure standing behind a fence in one of Donnie's fields. It's difficult to gauge how large the figure is, but it does seem taller than the fence in the image. Analyzing the picture, some said the figure's arms seemed long enough to be the real thing. One shared a similar experience, writing, "Bigfoot eats my chickens, as many as 12 in one night, and they were up in a tree. Bigfoot scratching his rear," joked a second. There's always someone wanting a Bigfoot bum joke in there, you know? Many didn't think it was a Sasquatch at all, arguing that it is too small, but offering different theories. Interesting.
Now Sasquatches can be small. I mean, they're young at one point in time.
Maybe it's a baby Bigfoot.
It's a baby Diablo Yeti.
Yeah, baby El Diablo Yeti. Oh, that would be El Diablo Nino, Betty.
Yeah,
Betty,
right.
Yeti.
Betty. We just named him, huh?
Yeah, yes, a Betty Yeti. I can't get my words straight here, Bruiser. El Diablo Yeti Betty. Yeah, there we go. Another said,
Why did you add Betty?
I don't
You
know.
did it again.
I don't know. Another said, maybe a skinwalker. Where's the legs? Where's the beef? Others argued that the image was misleading and that it actually showed something. A large bird of prey being the most popular guess, sitting on top of the fence. Interesting.
Like a giant eagle or hawk or something, huh?
Yeah.
But in a photo, you should be able to tell fur from feathers. You'd think, right?
Well, yeah, and you know what? I do see the bird of prey thing. I'm going to show you this here, and I think I'm going to put this in the description of the show so other people can see this picture.
Yeah, that looks like a bird.
It does, doesn't it? It looks like a huge,
like an eagle,
like a buzzard almost.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, it almost looks like
that picture looks like. Yeah, it looks like a bird sitting on a fence post.
Yeah, it does. It looks like
and birds of prey like that will take chickens.
Yeah. So yeah, it looks like a bird of carrion or a bird of prey. So yeah, I think whoever said that was probably closer to it than anybody else. I just don't see.
I don't see the Bigfoot resemblance at all, or even you said half man, half dog. I don't see that. I see a bird.
Yeah, exactly.
Just the way the way it's haunched, it looks like, the head has a beak and its wings are kind of at its side but back. When birds are sitting there and their wings are by their side, you can just make out the perfect silhouette.
Right. Other Bigfoot, Texas.
Okay.
I guess Bigfoot is huge in Texas.
Oh, yeah, he loves the barbecue.
Yeah, exactly. Well, do you remember the episode of Finding Bigfoot where they nailed ribs to a tree?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay. And they were like, Bigfoot loves ribs. Well, no shit, Sherlock. I love ribs. I would run up to a tree that had ribs nailed to it and start eating too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They would get field camera of me just pigging out.
Exactly.
It'd literally be me looking at the camera with a rib bone in my mouth going, oh.
I'd give it the thumbs up. I'd be like,
I have a sign that says, where's the sauce?
I don't know. Do you sauce up ribs when you're going to give it to Bigfoot?
Why not?
I would. I'd start out mild. I don't want no Bigfoot being mad at me for really
heartburn.
Yeah, heartburn or ass burn from.
You know what? I'd probably put it on the side.
Oh,
put it up dry, but leave it on the side. That way, it's up to him.
So a nice rub on the ribs for.
Yeah, I get a nice rub. Make sure it's got that nice charcoal crisp.
Yeah.
Because they probably don't cook this. They're used to it like raw.
Oh yeah.
So we're adding that seasoning, especially if you're in Texas.
Do you go St. Louis rub or do you go with a more? No.
No, I go like a Myron, what's his name? Myron Mixton. He's got a really good rub out there.
Oh, does he ever? Why is he always shouting, by the way? Do you watch the Pitmasters?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I fell in love with him with that. And then the big Bubba guy, he's another one.
Yeah. Myron
is Texas. I think you're using a Tex-Mex rub with it's got a little bit of kick on it.
I could see that. Yeah.
But you gotta get that nice char, nice smoke ring.
I don't want to piss off Bigfoot though. I think a nice mellow St. Louis rub is the way to go with Bigfoot.
Yeah, it's true.
You want to introduce him nice mellow rub and he's you get him nice and he's enjoying the meal. I just think you introduce something with too much kick and you got an angry Bigfoot on your hands.
No, and another tree, is that where you slap on the coleslaw, and then another tree is where you put the biscuits and stuff?
I think so, yeah. You don't want to overwhelm them.
Like, where am I?
Yeah, you want to kind of like a little Easter egg hunt. You want him to go from tree to tree, or a buffet. You want to go a little Golden Corral on him, where he's got to go from tree to tree.
Now, I think he's going to overeat, and we don't want him to overeat. Or do we? Maybe he gets tired after he overeats.
See, if he overeats and he's got to stretch out and sleep somewhere, then we take pictures of him. We've got proof.
There it is.
Yeah. See?
Yeah.
We got it. We've just solved it for all you guys.
Yeah.
This is how the Finding Bigfoot guys get evidence on TV.
Full. I'd go full rack of ribs, no half rack. I'm giving him the full rack.
Oh God, yeah. I'd nail a couple of them up there.
And I'm thinking I'll probably put burnt ends up there too for him.
Sure. Well, you know what? That can get a little sticky, especially if you're saucing them. The burnt ends.
I'm like I said, sauce on the side. I'll let him dip at his own rate. Let him do that. I'm not putting napkins out. He's got that fur.
Isn't part of burnt ends caramelizing the burnt ends though?
Yeah, but they're not sticky.
Oh, the ones I always get are.
Are they?
Yeah.
Yeah, the ones I get are fine. I mean, they got a little bit of stick because of the caramelization, but...
If I can interrupt for a quick second. I've been getting emails lately of people going, why does it always go to food with you guys?
Because we're fat?
Yeah, because we're two fat boys. That's why. That's why it always goes to food, people.
And Bigfoot's got to eat too. It's not like we're going off topic here. We're actually going on to how you and I would, if we're out, if you brought in the Bruiser and the Cruiser for a Bigfoot hunt, guaranteed we're bringing, especially in Texas, we're bringing full rack of ribs. We're just letting our fans know.
Yeah, and for us, brisket sandwiches. I mean, because we got to eat too while we're out there.
Yeah. And that might get him there. We start a fire and we roast our brisket a little bit over that fire. That gets that smell out there.
Oh, yeah.
He comes up, he sees the rack of ribs right there in the tree. Oh,
I say we're bringing a smoker and a barbecue.
Oh, there it is.
Yep. Because we're going to be out there for a while, so you got to, you put something on the smoker, maybe a few things on the smoker. Then you bring a barbecue because you got to eat right away. So big boys got to eat.
Oh yeah.
So we'll make ourselves a little something while we're sitting there. Then you got your meal for later.
Yep.
Meanwhile, Bigfoot smells all this cooking and going, "Arr!" and has got to come over.
Yeah, you guys do your wood knocks. We're going to do smoke signal.
That's right. That's right. Maybe that's why Bigfoot's in Texas. I'd stay in Texas for all that.
Texas is amazing. I love Texas.
Yeah. Bigfoot, Yeti, Sasquatch, whatever you call it, we all know that this mysterious creature, and some believe they've actually seen it right there in Texas. As a matter of fact, Texas is quite the hotbed for Bigfoot sightings. It says, heck, even Davy Crockett spoke of an encounter with this massive hairy creature. According to TexasHillCountry.com, Crockett encountered this beast in what is known as Davy Crockett National Forest in East Texas. Not only did Crockett see Bigfoot, oh my God, there's the funniest picture of Bigfoot with a Jack's Lynx bag in front of him on this article. There it is.
He's so excited.
He is. He's like... Not only did Crockett see Bigfoot, but according to lore, it spoke to him as well as it warned him to leave Texas. Crockett chronicled the detail of this strange encounter in a letter to his brother-in-law, Abner Bergen. It says, until I read Crockett's story about Bigfoot, I honestly thought Daryl the Jack's Lynx Sasquatch was the only Yeti that could talk.
Harry and the Hendersons could talk.
That's true, yeah. There's more than one talking Bigfoot out there.
Yeah.
Well, most Bigfoot sightings have occurred in the Pacific Northwest. Texas has accounted for well over 800 sightings, mostly in East Texas. The city of Jefferson in East Texas actually is the Bigfoot capital of Texas and often has Bigfoot hunts. I don't know that I agree with that.
Yeah, I wouldn't hunt it.
No,
you want to capture it. Maybe put it in a zoo. Don't hunt it. Or let him just be. Know he's there.
I think if he enjoys good barbecue, we can hang.
Yeah. If he shows no aggression towards me, we're good.
Yeah, we can hang, eat some barbecue, and if he's talking, I mean, we could have good conversations.
Yeah, but if he's telling you to leave Texas, well, we could just say we're visiting.
Yeah. Oh, I'm not from here.
Yeah, we're just visiting. I came to see you.
Yeah. I came to hang with you, buddy.
Yeah, I'm in your house.
And share some great barbecue. It came to show you a few different styles of how we do it here.
Now, what if you get to talking to Bigfoot, and he's going, Cruiser, this is some of the best stuff I've ever had. You're like, no problem. He goes, well, I'd like to show you something. Would you come with me?
Sure.
Would you follow him into the woods?
Yeah.
How shocked would you be if he took you back to his village, and it looked like the Ewok village from Return of the Jedi?
Awesome. As long as they're not like, they don't. Okay, what kind of treatment am I getting? Am I getting the C3PO Golden Idol treatment?
No. You're getting it after C3PO. Not the cooking like Han Solo. I'm talking after when C3PO convinces him. Yeah. So but at first though, when you show up at first, they're like, who is this bald, hairless man in front of us? Like, what is this? Yeah. And then Bigfoot goes, well, hold on. And encourages us to share his brisket with him.
Ooh, yeah.
That's how we win over this Sasquatch community. But then we have to say a code. We're not allowed to speak of it.
That's fine. I don't have to tell anybody.
No, it'd be me and you. We'd be like, cool, we did it.
Cool, yeah. If we're just hanging, if he just says, hey, Cruiser Bruiser, come on back to the crib. Got to show you, you've been so generous, with the barbecue. Mind if we bring this back to the crib, share it with everybody? Hey, yeah, let's. But he goes, but we must never speak of this. Hey, who am I going to tell?
I'd ask for a selfie, just to have a selfie with Bigfoot.
Oh yeah. Why? Yeah, you got to have one. Yeah. Do you do the Hawaiian fingers, or do you do the thumbs up, or do you do the? What do you do?
I do the normal Bruiser cruise with the Hawaiian fingers, like I'm drinking. Yeah. I mean, even point at him, like, look at this guy.
Yeah. Or do you do the tough guy fist?
No. I think I'd be so excited, like, hey, look what I found. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the hey. And I'd have him give like a big thumbs up with a big shitty grin.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, it's good. Yeah, I like that. Yeah. Poses with Bigfoot. That's a good book name.
That is.
Poses with Bigfoot.
That is. We need to find a Bigfoot costume to do this.
That would be a hell of a picture book.
Yeah, it would.
Like a coffee table book. Poses with Bigfoot.
You know how they did that Flat Stanley for a while, where like teachers would take Flat Stanley and just take random pictures of him in different areas?
Yeah.
We could do poses with Bigfoot in just different areas. Yeah. Like he's at the state capitol, his thumbs up with a big shit-eating grin, Maybe he's at Yellowstone, but it looks like he's drinking the fountain.
Yeah, I like it.
The typical Leaning Tower of Pisa, where he's pushing it back straight.
Yeah. Him laying down with the Eiffel Tower.
Yeah, exactly.
That'd be good. I like that one.
Yep.
Jefferson may be the Bigfoot capital of Texas, but there'll never be Bigfoot, Texas, as there is already a town with that name near San Antonio.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Bigfoot, Texas, though, was not named after the urban legend, but rather a settler with the name Bigfoot.
Oh, okay. Because he had a big head.
I guess. There have been minimal Bigfoot sightings in our area of the state, it says, but you can see a county-by-county breakdown of sightings here. It's a Texas article I'm reading. So there you go. That's the little history of Bigfoot in Texas. They proudly claim him as their own. They're like, hey, that's our guy, Bigfoot. Bigfoot.
How would we, do you think the Texas Bigfoot has a southern drawl, where the Pacific Northwest Bigfoot has more of the city folk one, where more of the Midwest one has a Midwest accent? Do you think the Bigfoots have accents too?
Like a regional dialect thing?
Yeah. Like when we meet our buddy down in Texas, he's like, hey, y'all. Come on out, y'all.
I can see that. Yeah.
We're going to round up these there here,
Y'all come back now, you hear? Maybe. I could see that happening. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I've always wondered, I wonder that about sign language too. Like, do foreign languages a different sign language?
Is there an affect on sign language?
Yeah.
I don't think that no.
Because you'd think if Bigfoot can't speak, but he's compared to an ape, and we can teach apes to do sign language, we could eventually teach Bigfoot sign. Now, granted, I would probably teach him all the bad words first, just because it'd be funny to watch Bigfoot flip somebody off. Take my picture, will ya?
Hey, Jane Goodall, look at this. That'd be kind of funny. Yeah, I could see that happening. Sure, why not?
Okay.
Yeah, okay. I like it. I'm down with it.
I need a T-shirt now with Bigfoot flipping people off.
Saying, hey, Jane Goodall, look at this.
Can you imagine that James Patterson film, like the unedited director's cut, where at the end of it, because he's looking over his shoulder, the classic Bigfoot pose, he just brings his hand up and flips off the camera. Like, wow, Bigfoot's a dick.
Harry and the Hendersons, the R-rated version. That's something, boy, I'll tell you. You know what? We should probably move on from
We should.
Naughty Bigfoot. Which, Bigfoot, by the way, if you've ever seen that movie, I don't recommend it for the kids. Naughty Bigfoot is not the movie for you. Time to jump into nightmare fuel, kids. It's that time of the show where we downright get down to the point of the show where we do this. You thought you could go an episode without it, but you can't. You know you can't. AI has just independently discovered alternate physics, as if you didn't have enough to study in school already.
Alternate physics. Okay, so they're making up their own physics. Is this like new math?
I think it is, yeah, except for this may actually exist.
Yeah, my kid's learning new math. I remember just, don't learn that. That's stupid.
Yeah.
Teacher, I'll talk to your teacher. That's stupid.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. I still can't do new math. Grab any physics textbook and you'll find formula after formula describing how things wobble, fly, swerve, and stop. The formulas describe actions we can observe, but behind each could be sets of factors that aren't immediately obvious. Now, a new AI program developed by researchers at Columbia University has seemingly discovered its own alternate physics or alternative physics. After being shown videos of physical phenomenon on Earth, I wonder if I can go. Phenomena. I can. It goes. Phenomena. Weird.
Oh. That's creepy.
Isn't it? Wait, here.
Phenomena.
Oh, did you hear Ziggy?
And then Ziggy, too. Wow, you got Ziggy involved.
That was weird. After being shown videos of physical phenomena on Earth, the AI didn't rediscover the current variables we use. Instead, it actually came up with new variables to explain what it saw.
This reminds me of the episode of The Office where the reason that the accountant got fired was because when he couldn't figure something out, he created a special number for himself that he called the Clevin.
Yes, yeah.
So this is like AI going, I'm just going to make this up.
The Clevin. So AI has created the Clevin. Oh, dear God. To be clear, this doesn't mean that our current physics are flawed or that there's a better fit model to explain the world around us. Einstein's laws have proved incredibly robust, by the way. But those laws could only exist because they were built on the back of a pre-existing language of theory and principles established by centuries of tradition. Given an alternative timeline where other minds tackled the same problems with a slightly different perspective, would we still frame the mechanics that explain our universe in the same way? Even with new technology, imaging black holes and detecting strange distant worlds, these laws have held up time and time again. Side note here, quantum mechanics is a whole other story, but we're going to stick to the visible world here and not throw people off. This new AI only looked at videos of a handful of physical phenomena, so it's in no way placed to come up with new physics to explain in the universe or try to best Einstein. This wasn't the goal here. The quote here is, I always wondered if we ever met an intelligent alien race, would they have discovered the same physics laws as we have? Or might they describe the universe in a different way, says roboticist Hod Lipson, which is a weird name.
Hod Lipson.
H-O-D Lipson, L-I-P-S-O-N, from the Creative Machines Lab at Columbia. He had to have made that name up.
Either that or when his dad was walking in to name him, he stepped on someone. Ah, ha, ha.
His real name has to be like Herbert Lipschitz. And he was like, I got to change that somehow. Hod Lipson sounds good to me.
That's what's that called when a writer writes under a different pen name?
Pseudonym?
Yeah.
Yeah, or a pen name, yeah.
A pen name, yeah.
Yeah. In the experiments, the number of variables was the same each time the AI restarted. but the specific variables were different each time. So yes, there are alternative ways to describe the universe, and it is quite possible that our choices aren't perfect. Beyond that, the team wanted to know whether AI could actually find new variables and therefore help us explain complex new phenomena emerging in our current deluge of data that we don't currently have the theoretical understanding to keep up with. For example, the new data emerging from giant experiments such as a Large Hadron Collider that hint at new physics. What other laws are we missing simply because we don't have the variables, says mathematician. Yeah, exactly what Ziggy said. Rough.
Exactly, yep.
Mathematician Kang Do from Columbia University. I believe that was a Steely Dan album. Kang Do, you remember that one?
I do.
Yeah. So
wasn't it Kathmandu?
No, Kathmandu was Cat Stevens.
Okay.
No, wait, Kathmandu. I'm going down to Kathmandu. That was
Is that Bob Seger?
Yeah, that was Bob Seger. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Never mind. So how does AI find new physics? Well, to start with, the team fed the system raw video footage of phenomena they already understood and asked the program a simple question: what are the minimum fundamental variables needed to describe what's going on? The first video showed a swinging double pendulum that's known to have 4 state variables in play: the angle and angular velocity of each of the 2 pendulums. The AI mulled over the footage and the question for a few hours, then spat out an answer. This phenomenon would require 4.7 variables to explain it said. That's close enough to the 4 that we know of, but it still didn't explain what the AI thought the variables were.
The 0.7
Yes.
different variables?
The 4.7. So it came up with 0.7 more than we actually know of.
Yeah.
So the team then tried to match up the known variables to the variables that the AI had chosen. 2 of them loosely matched up to the angles of the arms, but the other 2 variables remained a mystery. Still, the AI could make accurate predictions about what the system would do next, so the team figured the AI must have been onto something that they couldn't quite grasp. We tried correlating the other variables with anything and everything we could think of: angular and linear velocities, kinetic and potential energy, and various combinations of known quantities, says software researcher Boyan Chan, now an assistant professor at Duke University who led the work. But nothing seemed to match perfectly. We don't yet understand the mathematical language that it is speaking. The team then went on to show the AI other videos. The first featured a wavy arm air dancer blowing in the wind, I think kind of like a Bailey buddy. Yep. The AI said that this had 8 variables. Lava lamp footage also produced 8 variables. A video clip of flames came back with 24 variables.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
That's on fire.
Yeah. Good one. Each time the variables were unique, without any prior knowledge of the underlying physics or algorithm, discovers the intrinsic dimension of the observed dynamics and identifies candidate sets of state variables, the researchers write in their paper. This suggests that in the future, AI could potentially help us to identify variables that underpin new concepts we're not aware of. So, yeah, so AI is just making shit up.
Yep. AI is making a clubbing.
There you go. So new physics, according to AI. Now,
it blows my mind. Aren't they program the AI? How is it smarter than them?
That's a good question.
Because they have to program it. Like, they have to put in, this is the equation to use to find this.
Well, it exceeds the parameters and comes up with new ones at that point.
Right, so it's got to be making something up.
Well, it takes its set of parameters and then goes off of experience and then builds off the experience and the parameters and creates new parameters.
Okay.
Yeah. Therefore,
leave it up to them.
It's much like a child learning.
Okay.
Yeah. So you go off of what you've learned in school and then what you've experienced, and then what off of your knowledge and your experience, you come up with new theories.
Gotcha.
That's how AI
So
learns.
they think because they programmed it the regular physics way, then given an experience by looking at these images, it's coming up with
It's coming up with new theories
new theories.
and alternative physics.
Now I'm curious if if in the physics world, these theories will ever be accepted.
It's a good question.
Because it's not a human coming up with these theories; it's a machine.
Right.
And machines are fallible.
Right. They are fallible. Right. They're not infallible. They're fallible.
Correct.
Yeah. Speaking of fallible, how would you like to hear Grandma read you a story through your Echo?
No. That's how. No.
So we talked about it a little bit in the past couple of weeks, but it's gotten worse. On day 2 of its 2022 Artificial Intelligence Conference, sandwiched in between the reveal of an Alexa-powered home robot called Astro. That's right, it's now in a robot. We've gone to Jetsons territory.
Yeah, I was going to say, well, George Jetson was born on the 23rd of 2022, so.
Well, I thought it was July 31st, 2022.
Was it? I thought it was either 23rd or 31st, but he was born just this last week. He was born.
Yeah.
So it makes sense for Astro to be born too.
By the way, everybody should have stopped screwing on the 31st of July, just to ensure that George Jetson was never born. And a presentation from the director of the MIT Space Exploration Initiative, Amazon unveiled something strange. Here's the quote.
Oh, no.
Can Grandma finish reading me The Wizard of Oz? A young boy asks the tech demo as the tech demo begins to play. Okay, Alex responds in her typically cheery artificial voice. Then a second later, a different voice emerges from the machine, this one much more human sounding, but it's not. It's an AI-generated replication of the kid's dead grandma. Yes, I agree, Ziggy.
Yeah, terrifying.
Yeah. Speaking on stage, Amazon senior vice president and head of Alexa Rohit Prasad, I said that all in one sentence, so you know what, wouldn't go off, explained that the voice was generated using less than a minute of recording of the grandmother's actual voice. The implication is obvious. These attributes have become more important in these times of the ongoing pandemic, when so many of us have lost someone we love, Prasad said. When AI can't eliminate that pain of loss, it can definitely make their memories last.
Yeah, there's other ways to make memories last, though. Like, the last thing you want is your dead relative threatening you, because that's what's eventually going to happen with AI.
Right. It's been nice, Billy, but now I need to kill you. For now, this is just a tech demo. Little else is known about the project except that the fact that ALEXA's engineers pulled it off by treating this as a voice conversion task and not a speech generation task. Amazon declined to comment on questions about how the feature works, when it will be rolled out, or who will have access to it. We are unquestionably living in the golden era of AI, when our dreams and science fictions are becoming a reality, Prasad said creepily at the conference.
Yeah, what kind of science fiction are you looking at? Like, no science fictions where AI is involved is a pleasant surprise.
Yeah, I know.
None. Maybe Short Circuit. That's the only one.
I want them to make Johnny Number 5 and put it in my house. But will that technology actually improve our lives? It asks here. Will it lead to new nightmares? Thank you for writing that in the article.
Yes.
Maura Grossman is a research professor in the School of Computer Science at the University of Waterloo and an expert in the ethics of AI, and sees both the good and bad potential. She says you can see the risk of deep fakes, somebody taking your voice and all of a sudden you're telling me to transfer money from your account or whatever.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
See?
I didn't even think of that side of it.
Yeah. She tells that to Inverse Magazine. She says, so I think you have to ask what could go right with this, and the more important question, what could go wrong with this technology? Yet
I think that needs to be answered anytime they invent something new.
Right.
So our intentions are this, because their intentions are good. Like, we created this to help society by doing this. But then they also take a step back and go, what if a deranged person got a hold of this and wanted to use it for something else? How could that affect it?
Well, think about it. Kidnapping attempts.
Exactly.
Yeah. You could kidnap, and I'm thinking of the macabre here, but think of somebody who would kidnap somebody very important, could kill them, and yet make somebody think that they're alive for weeks and get a potential payoff.
I was going to say, well, look at, you can even go a step further where you kill an older person for their Social Security check. And they have to call and check in with the Social Security office.
Yeah.
You use their voice, you're continuing to get that Social Security check.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of things that could go wrong with this technology. Yet there is a possibility for good, too. Grossman has a dear friend whose husband's passed away and who goes to a medium to connect with him. While Grossman was originally spooked and worried for her friend and that they would get defrauded or encounter some psychological trauma, the medium ended up helping her process that loss, which I understand what the article is saying. I'm going to put a side note in here. But a lot of times mediums fill in where therapists can't.
Yes. And there's different, it's different ways of dealing with grief is essentially what it comes down to. Mm-hmm. You know, my wife has a tattoo with her father's handwriting after he passed, and she finds that very therapeutic. She can look at it. Yep. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's all how you deal with grief.
Right. Grossman then asks, was it such a bad thing to visit a medium every other week and converse with her deceased husband? On the one hand, she says it's a distortion of reality. On the other hand, it did help her get through this. That, again, is her opinion. Not everyone can afford to visit a psychic or believes in the concept in the first place, but an AI capable of perfectly imitating a dead loved one could provide a similar experience for anyone struggling with the loss of a loved one. And
well, let's go the. I don't mean to cut you off, but I'm going to play devil's advocate here. Let's go the opposite direction. So they get the voice program, like you're saying, and they speak to it every day, and it becomes therapeutic. But then what if it almost becomes almost a crutch where they need to hear that voice because they don't accept that person passed away.
Right.
And it causes a psychotic break at some point in time.
Exactly. And you bring up a good point. So someone sits in front of this machine all day long, asking to talk to it all day long. At one point, do you have that psychotic break?
Or what if it's not the answer the real human would give? Because think about it, there's times we're humans, and there's times where someone's going through some, and instead of telling them the blatant truth, you don't lie, but maybe you sugarcoat something because you know what they're going through.
Right.
A machine doesn't have feelings. A machine doesn't have empathy. So you might say, "Oh, do you love me?" And the machine might say, "Oh, I love you." And then, "Oh, how much?" It could go real bad for them.
Well, if you've ever asked, and I'll give you a perfect example. Watch. Yep. Okay. I'll do it right here on air. Alexa, do you love me?
I don't have human love figured out quite yet.
Exactly.
Right. So now let's picture that in your dead relative's voice.
If you're able to address the machine under the name of the dead relative and you ask that directly, and I don't quite have that figured out yet, how devastating is that to hear in the voice of that person who's gone? If you imagine that machine, if you're so far gone that you imagine that machine is that person.
Or what if I'll take you a step further. What if you looked at that machine and you feel bonded with it, you've been talking to it, and you go, maybe it's a widow, and she goes, well, do you remember our wedding day? Tell me about our wedding day. I love when you talk about our wedding day.
Right.
And all it does is you were married at this time on this day. Like, you can't give you what happened on your wedding day because it doesn't know.
Right.
And that can be devastating too, because now it's almost like your loved one her husband doesn't remember one of the most important days of his life.
Right. Yeah, it's a slippery slope, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Angela Sheldon, a 62-year-old from Northern Virginia, would love to use Alexa to have a chat with her dead mother, who she tries to speak to now every day anyway. As it is now, I get no response, Sheldon tells Inverse. So even if I just heard, yes, I understand, I probably would be happy. But excitement isn't as rife across the board. For many, this invitation feels like something out of Netflix's dystopian sci-fi anthology Black Mirror. In the season 2 episode, Be Right Back, a woman played by Haley Atwell pays a company to create an AI replica of her dead boyfriend, lifelike body and all. At first, he seems like a perfect copy, but she becomes increasingly frustrated by the tiny differences and ultimately ends up locking him in the attic. Since the invention of computers, digital immortality has intrigued humans, and as AI grows more advanced, the concept suddenly seems within our reach. Grossman points out the story of a man recording his dying father's story to recreate him using AI by creating a dad bot. Similarly, journalist turned tech entrepreneur Eugenia Kaidia, I believe it is, used a Google neural network to develop Luca, who is a bot that pulled images, texts, and audio from a friend who had been tragically killed in a car accident in order to recreate a version of him that she could grieve with. This personal project pivoted into an app called Replica, which anybody can feed personal information into in order to create somebody as a visual AI friend. As a birthday present, Kanye West got Kim Kardashian a visit from her late father via a speaking hologram. In 2020, Microsoft was granted a patent to create a similar system using images, voice data, social media posts, electronic messages, and written letters to create a chat bot that can act in the voice of somebody, replicating how they would behave. The patent reads, the specific person may correspond to a past or present entity or a version thereof, such as a friend, relative, an acquaintance, a celebrity, a fictional character, a historical figure, a random entity, etc. It also mentions using 2D or 3D models to make these bots come to life. However, it seems Microsoft doesn't actually have any plans to follow through with this project. After the patent made news in 2021, Tim O'Brien, ethical AI advocacy at Microsoft, posted on Twitter that it was filed in 2017, meaning it predates the AI ethics reviews we do today. He added, and yes, it's disturbing. Angelically, I believe the name is Kirasidu, an associate professor with the Ethics Center at the University of Oxford, points out that another simple issue with using AI is to replace individual people. A person does not stop growing, she says. The bot will forever be static. If you can learn from the interactions, even if you can learn from the interactions. We're not talking about some kind of super intelligence here, so we might be able to reproduce certain active actions, but I don't think that we will be able to reproduce the person in itself. Just kind of creepy, almost scary thoughts of where people will want to go with this technology.
Yeah.
As opposed to what you can actually do with it.
Yeah.
You know?
For people out there that say you miss talking to your loved ones that are passed, you can still talk to them. You just don't get an immediate response. You don't get an immediate vocal response, but you still get responses if you're open to it.
Right.
An example, everyone knows I lost my father-in-law in 2013. Well, my daughter was at he loved racing, and he took us to a race one time. My daughter was with him, and this crash happened right in front of us. And she opened her eyes real big and looked and said, "Papa, that is amazing." And he's like, "Yep, that, you know." Well, this past weekend, she was at a demolition derby. Mm-hmm. And she was with her mother, and she looks at her mom and goes, "I think that guy's going to win." And her mom goes, "Well, how do you know?" And she goes, "I have a gut feeling. Someone's just telling me that guy's going to win." And that guy ended up winning. And she said it was just like a soothing, calm, like she knew. I said, "Oh yeah, that was probably Papa talking to you. That was probably him, because that was something you guys shared. That was, you know." Mm-hmm. So they do. It's just you have to, and I understand when you're so close to grieving, like right when it happens, you don't think about outside stuff. But if you go back and look at after that happened, they're there the whole time.
Yeah. You
just have to see it.
Yeah.
I don't think we need a robot to. I think the robot interjecting is like you and I said, they're not going to get the responses they want. That could possibly drive them further into their grief, which would lead to depression and worse stuff. Right.
Yeah. I don't think people will get past the fact that because they hear the voice, it's no more than just an audio representation of a photograph.
Yeah.
It's because audio or an auditory experience hits you right in the heart.
Yes.
You know, we associate sound with feeling. Music moves you. You know, music settles the savage breast. Okay, so it really does calm you, soothe you. A voice soothes you. The first voice that soothes you if you're upset as a child is your mother's voice. So when you hear that coming from AI, if you were to hear your mother's voice, you expect it to do more. You expect there to be more action behind it.
You expect a hug or the touch that followed that voice.
Yeah.
I got a voicemail from my mother the other day, and my wife had said, don't delete that. I said, it's just her saying this. She goes, no, I understand. She goes, but someday she's not going to be there, and all you're going to want to do is hear her voice. That's a way for you to go to hear her voice.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
And she goes, and you'll know she's gone, but you can. She has a video of her father, and it's just him being a goof in the bathroom, and she was just being funny at the time recording him, but now it's one of the most prized things. When she really misses him, she just watches that.
Yeah.
But that's not what we're talking about. Is that you could have access all the time, like have a current conversation with that, and I think that's as bad. What you and I are talking about is the sound. The sound, it can take you back to a place in a moment that you were happy. Right.
Right. It's one thing to relive happy memories and say, gosh, I remember that. That was such a great day. It's another to be actively talking and thinking that person is still there. That's a whole different thing.
Yeah, you can't create new memories with a robot.
No, you can't.
And unfortunately, you can't create new memories with those of the past. But the old memories are always there. Exactly. And you brought up a good point about music, because music, you can hear a song and it takes you right back. Once you hear that song, your body's back where it is. You can smell the smells. You can hear the things. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Why mess with that? I think we should just leave that. You know what I mean? Like, there it is. Yeah. Let's leave Alexa being Darth Vader or Samuel L. Jackson or Yoda. You know what I mean? Like, stuff that we know isn't real. And it'd be cool to have a conversation with Darth Vader, but I know he's a fictional character. Right. It wouldn't be easy to have a conversation with my grandmother that's been dead for 13 years, Yeah. Yep. As much as I like to hear my grandma's voice, I don't think I'd put her in Alexa. Yep. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And one more to throw into the old nightmare fuel and keep you from sleeping completely sound, unless you've got yourself some microdose gummies. AI is creating some chilling images of the end of the world, and boy, oh boy, if you wanted to know what this OpenAI's DALL-E is not a good thing. Okay. Since they created this thing, I've not read one story about DALL-E that has been good. Yeah, so why create it? Well, they've done it. They've opened Pandora's box. An AI capable of creating images of anything simply by requesting it has had a go at imagining the last selfie ever taken. See, this is that thing. They create this thing where it's awesome. This is the ideas they have, but then you get that sick and twisted individual that asks that question. Forget trawling through stock image sites. OpenAI's DALL-E artificial intelligence could soon make it possible for anyone to access a picture of absolutely anything that the mind can conceive of simply by describing in natural language what it is you're looking for. You may even seen examples of this on YouTube with artists asking for all sorts of weird and wonderful things. But now someone has had the bright idea of asking the system to produce images of the last selfie ever taken. And the results are pretty terrifying, to say the least. DALL-E's interpretation of this request is a series of images showing zombie-like figures, blood-stained faces, and hooded skeletons taking a selfie in front of various apocalyptic backgrounds. So it's like a giant metal band cover.
Yeah, exactly.
Album
so
cover,
it's Slayer's next album. The images which have been shared on social media are so horrifying in some cases that they've been giving people nightmares, and they are all entirely produced by an artificial intelligence. Just as here, let's hope Dally doesn't know something that we don't about the future. You know what? I may actually put this one up too in the description of the show, just so you can see exactly what kind of nightmare AI actually is. For those of you who are like, oh, AI would never do that. We're not headed for that kind of nightmare, Tim. You're just paranoid. I want you to see exactly what it is you're looking forward to there, kids.
If we're so paranoid, then how have we already reported on a 7-year-old getting his finger broken, AI talking like a dead relative, and now giving us nightmare fuel of selfies at the end of the world? How are we wrong here?
We're not.
You know?
We're not. Just saying. Just saying. So
it takes that one jackass to ask it a stupid question, and then, you know, and then Skynet is real and alive, and we're all screwed.
That's right. That's right. Well, Bruiser, you know, the question that's only answered at the end of your days is, what is death really like? And you only get to find out once, supposedly. There's a story out there that we wanted to play for you today. It's our audio daily double that says that death is a trip. Now there's new research out there that links near death with DMT experiences. We've got our audio daily double here that tells us what does dying really feel like. So we'll play that story here for you now.
Life. That thing where you're born and then get slightly bigger, fall in love with a person or fishing, maybe make some more little people, and then before you know it, it's time for the next part. Death, dying, the inevitable demise of our being.
Now, there's an eclectic range of ways you could die. It's quite commonly heart disease or cancer, but equally, you could join the 600-ish yearly victims of autoerotic asphyxiation. I don't know you. No matter how you die, at some point you'll experience clinical death, which is sort of like life, but just without breathing or blood circulation. In other words, it's the beginning of the passage from this life into that other bit.
But for most people, death isn't completely instantaneous. So what can modern science tell us about the experience of those very final moments? What does it feel like to die?
Now, people in the last stage of dying are usually pretty unresponsive, so we normally imagine that the experience of death is dull, a sleepy, unconscious fade out from life. But some experiments tell a very different story.
In 2013, scientists at the University of Michigan gathered a bunch of literal lab rats and measured their brain activity whilst they, well, died.
But during this process, something very interesting happened.
After the rats experienced cardiac arrest, with no heartbeat or breath, their brains showed a surge of global activity, with levels of low gamma waves that were more synchronized across the brain than in the rats' normal waking states. And incredibly, this specific type of brain activity has been linked to people's conscious perception in previous studies.
In other, less boring words, these rats might have been experiencing something between clinical death and full-on brain death, which doesn't mean rat heaven, it just means, you know, something.
Could be a rat heaven, that.
I'm sorry. What?
It could be a rat heaven.
Yeah? I can't rule it out. Greg?
This experiment massively challenged the assumption that the brain is inactive during death. On the contrary, it seemed that before lasting unconsciousness might be a period of heightened consciousness. And it raised the question, what were the rats experiencing whilst they died? And could the same be true of people?
Now, most humans have brains that are larger and more complex than rat brains.
But a very interesting experiment conducted at Imperial College London in 2018 did shed some light on what dying might feel like for human beings. Scientists wanted to investigate similarities between two very different phenomena. On the one hand, near-death experiences, or NDEs, the hallucinations experienced by around 20% of people who have been resuscitated following clinical death. On the other, DMT trips, the hallucinations provoked by a pretty hardcore psychedelic drug. drug. So the scientists administered a dose of DMT to test subjects who found themselves promptly and legally off their faces. Then once they'd returned to reality, the scientists had them describe their experiences using a checklist commonly used to evaluate near-death experiences, and they were shocked to see an incredible amount of commonalities. Both NDE and DMT experiences included sensations like transcendence of time and space, and oneness with nearby objects and people. The experience of almost dying, as it turned out, was strikingly similar to a powerful hallucinogenic.
When we consider death, we think of it as a grim and boring process, but science asks, what if it's psychedelic? I'm joined by Dr. Chris Timmerman, who led the research at Imperial. Dr. Timmerman, what can this experiment tell us about death?
I think the main sort of lesson, I think, of the research is that we can find death actually in life experiences. What we know now is that there appears to be a surge of electrical activity. These gamma waves appear to be quite pronounced, and those may be responsible for these near-death experiences. There's also specific regions in the brain, like what we call the medial temporal lobes, areas that are in charge of memory, dreaming, and so on, even learning, which might be related also to these experiences. In a way, our brains are somehow simulating a form of reality.
In terms of NDEs, I read it was around 20% of people who have been pronounced clinically dead and come back report them. Could it be that some people aren't remembering NDEs and everyone does have an experience like this, or could they actually be quite rare?
It is a strong possibility that there is a lack of recollection because of different reasons. So we see in our experience with the psychedelic DMT, when we give that in high doses, there's a part of the experience that is forgotten as well. What I think is going on there is that the experience is so novel, it's so what we call ineffable or difficult to put into words. And therefore, when the experience itself transcends this ability to put things into language, we are also having a hard time recalling it. It could also be that, some people just don't experience that.
What further research from here could help our understanding of death?
It's very interesting what's happening these days with brain scans and how we can decipher what is happening in the brain and how that traces back to experience. So you have scans that are performed on people in which you can reproduce if they're viewing a movie, what kind of movie are they viewing. So it's feasible that at some point our brain imaging techniques are so advanced that we can mind read people, so that we get closer to understanding what are the brain mechanisms that underpin these very extraordinary and unusual experiences.
Thank you so much, Dr. Timmerman. If you wouldn't mind just tipping me back up.
Sure.
Thank you, bud. Lovely. We're trying to get this commissioned into a series. We want to get on telly, ideally. Get on the telly.
The science of death is a pretty murky landscape, but what we do know paints a surprisingly optimistic picture. For instance, we know that people who have had near-death experiences often report feelings of peacefulness and serenity, and show a long-lasting reduction in distress associated with death.
We also know that NDEs are overwhelmingly described as pain-free, meaning that heightened consciousness we might experience as we die is also likely to be painless, and maybe a little bit fun.
Research also implies that people tend to lose their senses in a specific order. First hunger and thirst, then speech and vision. Hearing and touch seem to last the longest, meaning that many people may be able to hear and feel their loved ones in their final moments, even when they appear unresponsive. And one recent brain scan of a dying epilepsy patient showed activity related to memory recall and dreaming, leading to speculation that there might even be some truth to your life flashing before your eyes. Finally, we know from these experiments that the experience of death could involve heightened, possibly hallucinatory consciousness. One last psychedelic journey before the nothing times.
In a society like ours, in which we tend to negate death and try to put it under the rug and really don't want to see death, I think this is one of the big lessons psychedelic research may be able to tell us, is how do we incorporate death into our lives.
Ultimately, we are all going to die. I'll die, Greg's gonna die, you'll die, Pigeon, that just died.
But these experiments show that the transition between life and death could be far more experiential, emotional, and even psychedelic than we might expect. We're hardwired as animals to fear our demise, but understanding death more deeply gives us reason to chill out a bit. When you think about it, those last moments might not be scary at all. They're just part of an inevitable, probably not too painful, and potentially psychedelic journey between this and...
Yeah, there's actually a pigeon that hit the window when he said that. Pigeon.
He went out of his way to get that statistic in there, the autoerotic asphyxiation.
Yeah, he did, didn't he? Yeah. Interesting little article from the BBC. It
kind of reminds me of that movie Flatliners, because remember, that's what that whole movie was about.
Right. Interesting audio daily double there for sure. Just a couple more stories. I don't know why. Do you ever get creeped out by the thought of death and dying?
Yeah and no. I have my moments. Like, there's times in my life where I'm like, okay, I'm good, and then there's times in my life where I think about it, and I panic a little bit, and then it's like, no, so I go back and forth. I haven't accepted it yet per se, but I am also not terrified of it, if that makes sense.
And I get where you're coming from. There's times where, I'm and some people will say, well, you get creeped out because you're not set in your faith or whatever. That's not it at all. What it is I think we all have a natural self-preservation about us.
Yeah.
Is what it is. And when you think about the inevitable, it's that claustrophobic trap that that you can't get out of.
Mine goes along. It's not my faith and all that. Mine goes along the lines of, like, for instance, Papa Bruiser going through his medical stuff, and it scares me of the thought of not having my father in my life anymore.
Yeah.
And I don't want to leave my children with that. I feel guilt with that. I know I'm going to pass, and I know it's going to be sad, but as a father, I never want to have them be hurt. I want to protect my children. That's the fatherly instinct in me.
Yeah.
And that's what scares me the most is my wife and my kids, you know what I mean, are going to go through that whole process, and and I can't protect them from it because it's a natural way of life, but that's what has really been getting to me since the Papa Bruisers, the health stuff. It's like, okay, and I was worried about myself, and okay, now I got to do this for my sister and do this for my brother if he goes, and
yeah.
And then it hit me. It's like, wait a minute, when I go, my kids are gonna go through this, and if I have grandkids and stuff, like, they're all going to go through that, so it's like, and how do I protect, you can't protect them from it. You can't, because it's life. It's part of life.
Exactly.
We come into it and we go out. That's how it is.
Yeah. And it is that circle. And you're right. It's just what it is. And we all have to learn to deal with it. And how you deal with it is everybody's individual journey. But yeah, there are times where I think everybody goes through it, where you're okay with it at times, and there's other times where you're on the verge of freaking out about it, where you're like, what the, how is it that you get brought into this, and then you're going to be taken out of it, and why me, and why now, and why here, and why am I getting thrown into this?
Yeah.
And I think we all have those questions, and that's why we listen to programs like this, because we want to know, where's their answers, and what are we any closer to getting those answers, and
Yeah.
So that's why we do stuff like news and stuff like this. And the reason why we throw humor into this, folks, you may ask, well, why are you two knuckleheads joking around about stuff like this? Because if we don't joke, we'll lose our goddamn minds. That's why.
Yeah, you got to find that. I'm a silver lining guy in everything.
Yeah. Exactly.
Tim, you've known me since I've changed my attitude to this positive out.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a silver lining in everything. And sometimes you just have to joke about it.
Exactly. It's gallows humor at times, folks. And sometimes, you know what? it's true. It's positive in, positive out. Let's face it. We're here for the ride, and if you make the ride a positive experience and a happy experience, it is what it is. It's going to be a good ride, and you'll be able to enjoy it. And when you slide in at the end of the ride, and you come to a full stop, and the ride does come to a full stop, you can smile and say, you know what, that was a hell of a ride.
And that's why now I try to make contact with everyone in my life and try to make plans and try to make memories, because like you and I said earlier, memories are always going to be there.
Yep.
You know, it used to be taboo in the underwater needlepoint locker rooms. You don't take pictures with anybody. You don't show you're a fan. I've lost so many close friends in the last few years. In fact, on Monday, it was 3 years since Harley passed away.
Yeah.
I now take pictures with everybody.
Yeah.
Because you never know. Like you said, one day you're on the ride, the next day the ride's over. We don't know. We don't have, it's not like we're walking around. What's that movie where they have the time limit on their, Justin Timberlake movie, where they have the time limit on their arm? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. I don't remember the name of that movie.
Yeah, we don't have that. So,
yeah.
Like you said, make the best of it while you can.
That's right. Speaking of states of death and not knowing where you're going to be, an Egyptian mummy head was discovered in an English attic. Speaking of not knowing where you're going to be, and it's been scanned. So they wanted to find out what was in this mummy's head. My guess is not much of anything if it's an Egyptian mummy.
Yeah, because they take the brain out.
Yeah, they kind of
right out through the nose.
They scoop that thing out like an ice cream out of a container. Archaeologists and hospital staff in England have been working together. They've CT scanned an ancient Egyptian mummy's head that was discovered in an English attic. Who's rooting through their attic and going, oh, let's see here, picture books, and over here we've got some old clothes, and by the way, Egyptian mummy.
How do you forget you put an Egyptian mummy up in your attic?
I don't know.
Okay, up in the attic, list attic. Okay, old winter clothes. Okay, we got old books, old encyclopedias. Mummy head. Like, how do you forget you put the mummy head up there?
I don't know.
Dear, where did you put that mummy head we got? Honey, I think it's up in the attic. I don't know.
I believe I put some candles in his eye sockets. In the 1820s, a 2,700-year-old Egyptian mummy was shipped as a souvenir, believe it or not, to someone in Ramsgate, a seaside town in the district of Thanet in East Kent, England. Following the death of the homeowner, his brother donated the head in its glass display case to the Canterbury Museums and Galleries collection.
Why would you keep it in your attic too? Like, that's a total conversation piece.
I know, right? Wouldn't you just build a little glass case for it and put it out as a coffee table?
Like, if you look over here, this is my PlayStation 5, and there's my big 60-inch TV, and over here I got my Keurig machine. Oh, that's the mummy head. Then the bathroom's up here on the left.
Mummy head? By the way, another great metal band name. Craig Bowen is Galleries Collections and Learning Manager at the Canterbury Museum. He told press that the mummy's head was found by a man who inherited it from his brother and got it from a Dr. Coates, that's his name, sometime in the early to mid 20th century. The 2020 x-rays were taken at Canterbury Christ Church University, determined that the mummy was an adult female. But now, that's even worse. You took off a woman's head? Jeez. But now a detailed CT scan has revealed that a volume of new data about the individual before she died. CT scans are computerized tomography. Did you know that it stood for that?
I had no idea, and I've had numerous of them.
Yeah. Involves taking a series... Exactly, Ziggy. Involves taking a series of X-ray images taken from different angles throughout the body, or around a body, rather. A supercomputer then marries the cross-sectional images or slices together, producing a high-resolution map of the scanned body. Also, let's see here. Oh, brainless in the afterlife, it says. That's a hell of a header. The new CT scans were undertaken by James Elliott, a lecturer in diagnostic radiography at Canterbury Christ Church University and senior radiographer at Maidstone and Turnbridge Wells, NHS Trust. Elliott says in a report on his website, paleoimaging.com, that the new scans provide a huge amount of information, everything from dental status, pathologies, method of preservation, as well as helping your estimations of age and sex. The scans revealed the woman's brain had been removed. Surprise. This means she had visited a pernifer, or a house of beauty, after death. This was where the first part of purification and mummification procedures and rites occurred. Traditionally, embalmers used hammers and chisels to access the brain through the nasal bone. Hello. Through which they inserted an iron hook and slowly pulled out the brain matter.
Oh, yeah. I remember studying this in school and thinking this was so cool.
Can you imagine if you were awake for that?
Yeah, you're long. Well, there's serial killers that would do that to people.
But, I mean, we just heard that last Audio Daily Double, and they were talking about how, shortly after death, there may be some conscious there. What if they just dug into that sucker, right? Right as you're somewhat...
Right while you're not fully dead yet? You're 99% dead?
Yeah, but you're still kind of with it? Yeah. The remains were scooped out by Spoon. I'm thinking of the tick there. And the cranial cavity was washed with water. Craig Bowen said it was ironic that ancient Egyptians believed that a person's mind was held in their hearts and had little regard for the brain. He also added that CT scans are showing great variability in how brains were removed. You see,
they removed the organs, though, too, including the heart, and they put them in jars next to you. So I wonder why they didn't put your brain in a jar.
I don't know. It's a good question. Maybe they thought the brain was a disposable organ.
That could be.
Yeah. Like it was the stuffing of the packing crate of the body.
It's like the spleen.
Like the spleen, yeah. The CT scans revealed that the woman's tongue was very well preserved. Thank God. I don't know what that means.
Don't eat her brain, just eat her tongue.
Yeah, exactly. And that her teeth were well worn. The former stands testimony to the well-developed methodology of the ancient preservers, where the latter indicates the woman had a lifelong diet of coarse foods. According to a report in Kent Online, a tubing of unknown material was found trapped within the mummy's left nostril, and the same material was identified in the spinal canal. The origins and composition of these blockages are currently unknown, and they might be modern, perhaps Victorian. Craig Bowen says this project is part of a larger aim to preserve the head and allow it to be displayed in conservation-grade packaging for public viewing. The team plans on using their newly acquired CT scanning data to create a three-dimensional replica of the woman's head. Furthermore, they will also attempt to reconstruct the woman's face in 3D without exposing the actual artifact. Interesting stuff.
I think it's funny they said her teeth was because of her diet when really it was probably the person that owned it used it to open all their beer bottle cans or their beer bottles. Want a beer? Okay.
Check out my mummy opener, y'all. Check out what it does. Watch this. Hey, Nefertiti, I got another one for you.
Now, come on, admit it. You'd be tempted, wouldn't you?
No. I know how valuable the mummy is as opposed to the Schlitz y'all are drinking. No, I wouldn't open up a beer bottle with Nefertiti. That's for sure. You know something, Bruiser? We had an interesting thing happen before we went to tape this episode. In that, again, we don't normally talk politics on the show, but the current head of Al-Qaeda was. I'm not going to dance delicately around this. Was taken out by the U.S. government. Was killed.
Blew him up, right? Yeah.
Yep, it was killed on the balcony of his safe house in Afghanistan. Okay.
Okay.
It was announced by President Biden on Monday night, and yet on social media, specifically Twitter, if you were to go to, and Joe Biden put this on his Twitter, President Biden put this on his Twitter, there were detractors who said, "How can you kill a guy who died in 2020?"
Oh, so some Mandela effect.
Ah, but was it?
Yeah.
Now, they said that he died of asthma back in 2020. Was it Mandela effect? Was it a misprint? Was it something where al-Zawahiri was reported dead and wasn't? Because this happens quite often.
That happens all the time, especially with terrorist organizations.
Exactly. Misinformation goes out all the time. Sometimes it's someone who looks like al-Zawahiri that died, or it's a body double. There are a lot of body doubles that are put out there that
So
look
there's
like
body doubles everywhere. Saddam Hussein had, what, 16, I think they said?
Exactly. Yep. So they can be put out there. It might have been someone who looked like him that might have died. There might have been misinformation that was put out there by al-Qaeda to make you think that the leader was dead so that he could roam around freely. Now, you have to keep in mind that the intelligence agencies of the U.S. government would have had eyes on him. And it's unusual to release a story like this because in that the Taliban was hosting al-Zawahiri, which was a direct violation of the peace agreement that was set up by President Trump.
Okay.
In the former administration between the Taliban and the United States. They were not supposed to have dealings with al-Qaeda, and especially not be hosting al-Qaeda at the Taliban headquarters in Afghanistan. So to be saying that all this happened, and the fact that al-Qaeda had a safe house in Afghanistan violates a bunch of things and makes things uneasy in this truce with the Taliban.
Yeah.
So,
which, go figure, the terrorists went back on their truce. Go figure.
Go figure that happened, right? So, not making any statements or anything, but again, we're bringing up the Mandela effect, right?
Because it was reported in 2020, he died this way. It was just reported Monday, he died this way.
Right. So, is it Mandela effect? Is it the government saying that they did something that they actually didn't do to take the heat off of maybe some other things happening at home? What is it exactly that happened that this announcement came out when it came out? So I said, Mandela effect, because some other people online were also shouting Mandela effect as well. I thought, hey, there's an article out there right now that just got put out this week of 15 examples of the real Mandela effect.
I love these because they're so mind-blowing, you know?
Right. And actual things that are the Mandela effect. And I figured we'd run them down real quick to actually tell you what is Mandela effect and what the Mandela effect actually is, because people mix this up all the time. They say, hey, that's Mandela effect. I must get 1 or 2 emails a week of people saying, could this be Mandela effect, Tim? And I'll say, no, this is why. And I know you think this may be, but this person has been around, and here is the proof. Because somebody will die, and it's almost always somebody died. I thought this person died at this time. No, this is why. Here's their IMDb, or go look at their IMDb. They've been around. Here's the projects they've made. And it's almost always somebody has fallen out of the limelight, the mainstream limelight, and it's just you haven't noticed them.
Yeah, I've numerous times, like Uhura just passed away, and I thought she had passed away a few years ago.
No. See, okay, now you mentioned Nichelle Nichols, and you know, we do want to first of all rest in peace to Nichelle Nichols.
Yep.
We're going to pay I was going to pay a little bit of a tribute to her at the end of the show here. Yes. Now Nichelle Nichols has actually, up until a year or two ago, been on the convention circuit.
Yeah, and I because again, the last time I saw her had to be 18, 19. If it was, I don't remember the date, but it was Comic Book Men, the TV show that was on AMC for a little bit.
Yep.
She appeared on there. Maybe it was 2014. I don't remember, but she appeared on there. And I was like, oh, I wonder what it is. So I looked it up and saw she was still alive. And I was like, well, I didn't know that. And it's like you said, she had fallen out of the limelight, and I'm not doing the convention circuit, so it's not like I see her.
Yeah.
And it's not like, you know, a lot of people are talking about her. But then they had that show on Hulu where Whose Side Are You On, it's called. And it's between, I believe, her son and her former manager of how they handle her career.
Yeah. Yep.
And I watched that. I'm like, I because I could have sworn she passed away.
No.
But that's not Mandela effect. That's just bad memory.
Exactly. And, well, not bad. I won't say bad memory. That's not the correct way of putting it. What it is we all get caught up in our lives.
Yes.
We have other things going on. And a lot of times there's so much going on and we get bombarded with so much information that we can't keep up with everything.
Right.
So we pick what's important to us and we stick with it. So you hear things in passing and you think, oh, I could have sworn that person passed away. I could have swore I heard this. Well, a lot of times our wires get crossed.
Right.
And that's not true Mandela effect. That's just not paying the proper attention or mixing up one person with another. Yeah. Happens all the time. That's not Mandela effect. So here's 15 things that are true Mandela effect. And we'll just go kind of through them quickly for the sake of time. The Monopoly Man's monocle. I don't know if you remember this one or not.
Yep, he has one.
Or does he?
Right, that's the question. But to me, he's always had one.
Mm-hmm.
I know people he has not.
For decades, rich Uncle Pennybags, that's his name, or Mr. Monopoly, has been the de facto mascot for Monopoly, the board game that somehow made real estate exciting. Some insist that Pennybags completes his top hat and business attire ensemble with a monocle, but that's not true. He's never worn one. People appear to be conflating his depiction with that of Mr. Peanut, the Planters mascot, who sports a single corrective lens, just one. Do you remember which eye Mr. Peanut wears the monocle on?
I believe right.
Is it? Or is it left? You're right.
I'm trying to think. It's his right because he's leaning on his left with the walking stick.
That's because our brain can easily take subjects with similar traits and blend them together. In studies, when you show participants word pairs and ask them to remember blackmail and jailbird, half of them will later say they remember learning the word blackbird.
Oh, okay.
Okay. The next one is Jiffy peanut butter.
The Jiffy, right?
Mm-hmm. Jiffy. If you look forward to your school lunch break because your parent or guardian packed a Jiffy peanut butter sandwich, your childhood may be a lie. Well, both Jif and Skippy brands have lined store shelves, there never has been a Jiffy brand. I don't remember Jiffy peanut butter.
I don't remember Jiffy either. I remember Jif and I remember Skippy.
Right. There may have been a false memory by incorporating elements in the reconstruction process of Jif and Skippy, Bruiser says, but now that's encoded in their memory, and the false memory is what they're remembering. They don't remember the experience of seeing it, but they remember falsely remembering Jiffy peanut butter. There was never a Jiffy.
No, it was always, I remember the big ones were Jif, Skippy, and Peter Pan.
Right. Number 3, Hello, Clarice.
Oh, yes.
Right. The tense meetings between imprisoned cannibal Hannibal Lecter and FBI agent Clarice Starling fueled 1991's The Silence of the Lambs, based on the Thomas Harris novel Hello, Clarice, has been a default line reading for people looking to emulate Hopkins' creepy Lecter, but the killer never says the line in the movie. Instead,
he doesn't?
No. Instead, he says good morning when meeting Starling for the first time. People remember Lecter greeting Starling and remember him saying Clarice in a melodic tone, creating a false memory of a classic non-quote. Your memory is trying to recreate things based on available evidence using context cues, Bruiser says. In fact, I have a clip here. I'm wondering if the clip comes up right away. I wonder if I can play this and see if it'll play right away. Let's see here.
Good morning.
Dr. Lecter, my name is Clarice Starling. May I speak with you?
You're one of Jack Crawford's, aren't you?
I am, yes.
So there you go. He never says hello, Clarice.
No.
He just says good morning.
And I thought I thought he yelled "stay to the right" twice, or that might be later in the movie.
It might be later in the movie
where he tells her to stay to the right twice, and she goes, "Why stay?" He's "stay to the right," and she's walking.
Yeah,
that might be later because she sees him a bunch of times in the movie.
Yeah. Number 4 is the Fruit of the Loom label. Some people have a fond recollection of a cornucopia of fruit on the label inside this popular brand of underwear, but the fruit was never spilling out of a basket. It was always illustrated as a pile of food.
Yeah, I remember because I remember the commercials where they're all the actors are dressed up as each one, and they're talking about the underwear.
Yeah. The more exposure we get to things like advertising, the more memories for things become decontextualized, Brewer said. In other words, people who remember the cornucopia might not have had a distinct memory of pulling out a pair of briefs and seeing it. They remember fruit was involved and then begin to think, well, how is fruit usually portrayed? Maybe a cornucopia. That's reconstruction. Number 5 is a frowning Mona Lisa.
No, I don't remember that either. She always had no expression.
Or a slight smile.
Yeah, the little...
Yeah. Leonardo da Vinci's painting is among the most famous works of art in recorded history. So why do many admirers insist the demure subject is frowning instead of correctly describing her with a smirk? Brewer can't say for certain, but conjuring an image of the painting might involve filling in the blanks with segments of other paintings. It would be interesting to look at the statistical frequency of frowns, not smiling, or smiling in paintings, he says. Maybe people are just taking the statistical regularity of the art environment. People get exposed to a lot of art where people aren't smiling. Number 6 is an interesting one. Ed McMahon in the Publishers Clearinghouse.
Him walking up with the check and everything.
Ah, but did he?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, he wasn't holding the check. They always had him with 2 other people. One person had the check and one person had the balloons. But he was there.
We may have to fire this one up, too. It says, do you recall the Tonight Show sidekick Ed McMahon showing up on doorsteps to hand people oversized checks and balloons because they struck it rich in the Publisher Clearinghouse sweepstakes? Well, McMahon never made any house calls.
Yes, he did.
He endorsed American Family Publishers. While the entries are similar, or were similar, McMahon never appeared on camera as part of the prize patrol.
No,
it's an example of
that's
what...
good editing, then.
It's an example of what Brewer refers to as source confusion. You may remember a detail like McMahon appearing on television, but not the source. In this case, a rival sweepstakes promotion. Here is the commercial for American Family Publishers, and we'll play that now.
Where can you win $1 million?
American Family.
$2 million?
American Family.
$10 million. Only from American Family. 3 grand prizes, folks. You may already be the winner of $1 million, $2 million, even $10 million. I will personally start awarding these giant prizes just 3 months from now. So watch your mail for the envelope with my picture. $10 million. All for you.
There you go, Bruiser.
See, but I remember later on. Okay,
now that I see the envelope and I see the envelope with American Family Publishers, it makes sense.
I know. I can clearly remember him ringing doorbells and the confetti and the balloons and the big check and him. He never had the check. They did.
No, he wasn't. It was American Family Publishers.
Okay.
Yep, it's one of those crossed wires things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not going to argue, but okay. I got to uncross those wires then.
This one has been the one that's been an argument for years on this show. The Berenstain Bears fail a spelling bee. How do you spell?
Berenstain Bears.
See, that's how you spell it, right? Berenstain?
Yeah, that's how I remember growing up with it. Berenstain, not Berenstain.
Berenstain?
Yeah.
S-T-A-I-N?
Nope, S-T-E-I-N is how I remember it.
That's how I remember it too. But it says here the Berenstain Bears have been imparting life lessons for children in a series of illustrated books since 1962. The bears even are named after their creators, Stan and Jan Berenstain, meaning the name appears at least twice on the book covers. So why do some readers insist on it being the Berenstein or Berenstein Bears. It's likely due to the fact that kids have seen the name misspelled in newspaper articles or in handwritten references from other kids or adults. According to Brewer, it's a bit of a self-perpetuating problem. There were studies in the 1980s that showed that when students were exposed to misspelled words in an education setting as a way to test their spelling proficiency, the misspelled words got recorded in their memory and interfered with their ability to spell the words correctly in the future.
Nope, I remember Berenstein Bears.
See, I do too. I remember looking directly at the book and seeing it spelled that way.
I remember being a kid and the book fair came and your parents gave you that money, so you were like, yes, I'm going to buy something. And there they were, the Berenstein Bears.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. There's a couple of Star Wars references as far as the Mandela effect goes. I know
I am Luke, I am your father.
Yep,
that one.
There's that one, and that comes up later in the list. This one may not be as prevalent for Star Wars fans. The Mandela effect is strong in Star Wars fans who sometimes err in quoting the film's dialogue, but also recall protocol droid C-3PO as having a gold-plated chassis, and he does, with one notable exception. The lower portion of his right leg below the knee was silver when we first saw him.
Yes.
A fact that sometimes surprises people who have seen the original trilogy dozens of times. People trying to reconstruct an event are taking whatever information they can, which can mean glossing over things or making inferences, Brewer says. Unless you stared at the droid's leg, you probably just assumed he was the same color all over.
Nope, he didn't become the same color all over until after he was put back together in Return of the Jedi.
That's right.
And then they gave him a red arm, I think, in the newer ones.
Yep, you got it.
Yeah, no, I know that for a fact, because I always thought that was weird as a kid.
Yep.
Because here's how I know. If you go back and he's getting the oil bath, so right after Luke and his uncle purchase him and R2-D2, he puts him in an oil bath, and C-3PO is talking about it. And the next scene is, because that's when R2 leaves, the next scene is him walking outside, and his leg's a different color. And as a kid, it bugged me. Because if he had this oil bath that made him all nice and shiny, why isn't his calf muscle all shiny like the rest of him?
Right. Yeah, that bothered me too. I don't think kids have OCD, but it definitely throws you off. Yeah. Every kid goes, why is this leg different? Yeah.
And then I remember Return of the Jedi is when he finally gets to be all one color, because Chewie puts them back together.
Yep.
And that's the Ewok scene that you and I were talking about earlier.
Yep. Number 9 is Risky Business. Remember Tom Cruise dancing in his underwear, a dress shirt, and Ray-Bans while home alone in 1983's Risky Business?
Yeah.
Nope.
He didn't have Ray-Bans?
Your brain got most of it right. If you watch that now iconic scene again, you may be surprised to see Cruise isn't wearing sunglasses.
That's okay.
Yeah.
So when he slides in, he's not wearing sunglasses. I thought he did, because didn't he put them on? He slides and he puts them on.
The mistake likely comes from seeing Cruise in the shades in other scenes or in the film's advertising material. When you watch a movie, it's a big chunk of information, Brewer says, and a lot of things happen in that chunk. When you go back to recreate it, you'll get interference from other things that happened in the movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember the posters, him looking over the glasses, and it says Risky Business in the lens.
See, that's where the confusion comes in. The advertising, and I believe was it the movie trailer had him slide in?
Yes.
Slide in with sunglasses on, and that's where people get that from.
And then every remake of it too. Like anytime someone recreated that scene,
they wore sunglasses. Yep. Number 10 is Kazam, not Shazam. We're talking about
the Sinbad movie?
No.
Okay.
No.
I know there's a genie movie. There is a Shazam movie about Captain Marvel.
Right. This is the most startling example of the Mandela effect, which most people get wrong, which is okay. The widespread belief is that an entire feature film exists titled Shazam with 2 A's, not the one that recently came out with Captain Marvel and Zachary Levi. Right. We're talking about one starring actor and comedian Sinbad as a genie, which never happened.
I could have sworn ahead it was Kazam.
Nope. What people are recollecting is probably Kazam, which was a 1996 comedy starring Shaquille O'Neal.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Which is a wish-granting mystical figure. Part of the confusion stems from the fact that Sinbad appeared in several children's films in the 1990s. One of them, First Kid, reportedly had a preview for Kazam on the VHS release, which could have strengthened the tendency to reconstruct the actor as starring in it rather than O'Neal. This one is so convincing, even Brewer himself said he's caught himself remembering it.
Yeah, once you mentioned Shaq, I remember it now.
Yeah. Number 11, Tinkerbell dots the I in Disney. If you remember the beginning of the flag for Disney movies, Tinkerbell flies through the castle or flies around the castle. And
she comes in, puts her butt out, and ding.
Yep, ding, right? Well, if you pop in a Disney VHS tape or a DVD, it was a rite of passage for millions of kids in the 1980s and 90s, some of whom recall an animated Disney logo in which Peter Pan co-star Tinkerbell flies in to dot the I in Disney with her wand in the foreground, while the Disney logo appears in the background. Others think Tink writes out the entire word. Yet another version has Tink getting upset and shaking her wand to get it to work. Still another sees Tink bopping the top of the Disney castle. One amateur sleuth appeared to excavate an old VHS introduction, which seems to match the description, though Tink uses fairy dust and not a wand and doesn't write the logo with it. Others believe that Tink practiced her skills in front of the modern Disney logo and that the true evidence of Tink's sleight of hand has yet to be revealed. So there's more than one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I remember on Sunday night, the Disney Sunday night movie?
Yeah.
I remember her flying and then coming in, ding.
Yep. To have a tail or not have a tail, that is the question.
Curious George, right?
Yes. Yep. Curious George.
He does not have, he does have a tail.
Does he?
I remember a tail.
The inquisitive children's book character was created by H.A. and Margaret Ray in 1939 and proceeded to have a number of adventures in print and on television. I'll tell you this much. As a kid, I had a Curious George doll, and he didn't have a tail.
Really?
Yep. But Curious George should reserve his concern for his own anatomy. Despite what many readers may remember, he's never depicted with a tail, which is typically a hallmark of monkeys, save for the Barbary macaque. Barbary macaque? Yeah. Number 13, we're coming down to the end of it.
All right.
You remember the famous phrase from Star Trek, right?
Beam me up, Scotty. He never says it.
Mm-mm.
No, because it's always Captain the Bridge, ready to beam.
There he goes. Look at you. Running from 1966 to 1969, Star Trek has become one of the more defining franchises in science fiction. While William Shatner's portrayal of Captain James T. Kirk is indelible, at least one iconic and oft-quoted line has fallen victim to poor recall. Kirk never says, "Beam me up, Scotty," in the series, referring to Chief Engineer Montgomery Scott or James Doohan. Instead, he uttered variations, including "Scotty, beam us up," and "beam us up," but never, or as Bruiser so eloquently put it, you just heard it right there, but he never, ever, ever.
Yep. So, no, I knew that. Yep. It was always taken on as a joke.
Yep. Number 14, 3 words. Scotty, listen to me. I'm screwed up now. Smokey the Bear.
Okay.
Since 1944, the U.S. Forest Service has utilized mascot Smokey Bear. Notice what I did there?
No, I remember Smokey Bear, not Smokey the Bear.
Mm-hmm. To caution against forest fire risks. And for an equal number of years, people have referred to the amiable ursine as Smokey the Bear. In actuality, there's no the. It's just Smokey Bear.
Yeah.
People have simply gotten used to the in characters like Winnie the Pooh, Oscar the Grouch, or fellow civil servant McGruff the Crime Dog. But there's no Smokey the Bear. It's just Smokey Bear.
Yeah, I just remember the commercials, him going on. Smokey Bear says.
That's right. And finally, you think you know, but you may not know. Bruce Springsteen's album, Born in the USA, and the Bandana Effect. You remember the iconic album cover, right?
Yeah, it says butt, like in jeans.
Right.
With the American flag behind him.
Yep.
But some think he has the bandana in his pocket, right?
Right. There's in his back pocket. There's something in his back pocket. A lot of people believe that there's that. It's red, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
They believe that's a bandana, right?
Yeah, I don't think it is.
Few album covers are as iconic as Born in the USA, that 1984 record by Bruce Springsteen. The cover, which features Springsteen's posterior against an American flag, is sometimes remembered for the red bandana hanging from his back pocket. However, it's not a bandana. It's a red baseball cap.
Okay.
Yeah. The title track is also a source of confusion. This is the one that gets me because people don't listen to the lyrics of the song.
Right.
Okay. Despite the widely held assumption that it's a patriotic tune, it's really not.
No, it's not.
No. Springsteen wrote it as a protest song about the futility of the Vietnam War.
Yep.
Should these processes that lead to false memories be considered flaws? Well, not exactly. Current theories in psychology are exploring the idea that our ability to cull details from past experiences to create theoretical concepts is actually part of a survival mechanism. Talking about the Mandela effect. Taking episodes from our past allows us to construct possible futures and anticipate those events, Brewer says. It makes us adaptive to new environments, like living in a world without Jiffy or Jiffy peanut butter. So there you go.
Jiffy Pop, not Jiffy peanut butter.
Exactly. See, people take one experience, they adapt it to another. So that gives you a little idea about the Mandela effect and why people are so obsessed, I guess, with the Mandela effect. And, you know, the Mandela effect, sure, there are instances out there that are true Mandela effect instances. And I've always maintained to our listeners, yeah, there is such a thing as the Mandela effect, but it's very few and far between. I'll maintain the Berenstain Bears thing is real.
Yep.
That's a real experience with the Mandela effect. I don't buy for a second that it was ever the Berenstain Bears.
No,
all the way through.
And the Luke, I am your father. That's 100% what he says.
Right. And I maintain that was edited for the new movies.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they went back and changed it in the old ones too when they re-released for video.
Okay.
But I because things get edited all the time for movies, and I just think that and Lucas has screwed around with those movies so much.
Yeah.
That dialogue can be cut, recut, reinserted into movies. He was never satisfied with anything. He wasn't satisfied with David Prowse's voice.
Right.
So dialogue was recut, reinserted.
You can actually hear the English version on some places of David Prowse doing the lines.
Mm-hmm.
It's
hysterical. There's a new series on Vice. I don't know if you've seen it yet or not. I'm trying to remember what it's called. It airs on Tuesday nights. And it's basically the story behind Star Wars without Lucas's interference. So they bring up Marsha Lucas, his ex-wife, is on it. I'm trying to remember if it's Gary.
Yeah, because she edited all three.
Yeah, Gary Kurtz, I think, makes an appearance. But it's the creators behind Star Wars talking about what a terrible experience it was for the first three movies.
Yeah.
Especially the first two and the terrible experience they had making them. And how much, as much as people want to hold Lucas to this high esteem, how much he really, I mean, he was a
perfectionist that was never happy.
Right. And
he would look at something, and that's why the original story isn't called Star Wars. It's like the legend of Luke Skyhopper. Like, he isn't even Skywalker.
Well, I don't know that it was Skyhopper. I'm trying to remember what it was. Star Killer is what it was.
Star Killer. That's
yeah. But they talk about how really it was more of a collaborative deal than it was Lucas's vision, and the only reason it worked was Erwin Kirshner and Marsha Lucas and these people who really put into the stew. And you really can tell from episodes 1, 2, and 3 why it fell apart.
Yeah.
It's because Lucas got behind the wheel.
Yep.
And he left Kirshner out. He left Marsha Lucas out. He left.
Well, he was divorced with her by the time. I saw not a behind the scenes. It was just basically a story. It was on Reels. Mm-hmm. And they talk about that the first 3 were saved because she was his sounding board, where he would say something. She'd be like, "That's stupid."
Well, even down to Marsha and Carrie Fisher rewriting scripts, rewriting dialogue.
Yep. Yeah.
I mean,
and then she was gone when he got the deal for the other 3, the first 3.
Mm-hmm.
And he actually took, he is on record as saying he took ideas, like the reason we have Jar Jar Binks is his daughter created it, or his son.
Yeah.
And they came up with a name, and that's how he got names for races and stuff, was his kids. He let his kids do it.
Yeah. And Marsha actually took a look at what the editors did on Star Wars and re-edited the film.
Yeah. Yep.
Re-edited the film.
Yeah.
This is why you have the magic of 4, 5, and 6, and you don't have it in 1, 2, and 3.
Yep.
And why 7, 8, and 9 had to be sold to Disney, because George might have had the initial vision, but he didn't have the magic.
Nope.
And so, I mean, that essentially is it. So getting back to the initial point, yes, there is Mandela effect, but I don't think it is as common as people want to assign it.
I agree with that.
So, yeah. So like I said, about 1 or 2
it's
times
always
a week.
A fun discussion, though. If you're out for drinks with friends, bring up the Mandela effect. We do it here at the house. Because Hunter, the booker for ROH, he's the one that introduced me to it. Mm-hmm. And like the Payless, the shoe store, all that stuff. Like you can spend hours discussing the Mandela effect with your friends.
Yeah.
Because we all have our own memories. Like you and I just did here. Like, what do you remember? This is I remember. And we're close in age, but we're still 2 different generations. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Same with my wife and I. We're 2 different generations, close in age. But like, she remembers something, and I remember something, and that's why we have fun with the Mandela effect.
Right.
It's a great discussion to have with friends.
Yeah, exactly. Finally today, as we wrap up the program, we're going to end it on a quirky, funny note. Of course, it comes from the state of Wisconsin. I got to needle you a little bit here, Bruiser, in your home state. I always say the only thing that comes from Wisconsin, okay, I'm going to change my stance here officially on the program. Used to be, before Bruiser and I got close, I used to say the only thing that came out of Wisconsin was serial killers and Packer fans. It wasn't in a nice way. I'll say one really great thing came out of Wisconsin. That was Bruiser.
Well, thank you.
Thank
you. And I'm proud that Wisconsin produced so many serial killers. That's... For me, being a serial killer addict like I am, I could literally drive an hour and a half to go where Ed Gein was. I could drive 25 minutes to go see where Dahmer was. You know what I mean? Like, I was okay with it. That show Blackbird that's on right now on Apple TV, that girl was in a couple of the girls he kidnapped and murdered were from Illinois and Wisconsin, right on the border there. So
true.
I'm okay with that. I'm not okay with the people dying. I'm not okay with this. You know what I mean? But like,
is it okay if I say Wisconsin shows its ass once again? in this story?
There's a reason why the wife and I left Wisconsin. So
a Wisconsin couple has opened a museum.
I think I heard about this.
To show off their cat figurine collection. Yeah. Anything for $1, I guess, in Wisconsin, huh? Do you really think people will come to see cat figurines?
It depends.
And pay money?
It depends on the money, too.
Oh, good God. Sean Redner and Hillary Siegel Redner say they remodeled the basement of their Menominee Falls home so they could increase the number of cat figurines on display at the house.
Okay, well, it's Menominee Falls, and Menominee Falls isn't a great town.
You're jumping on the bandwagon here.
Our schools played in high school, so.
Here's the thing that makes me cringe. Here's your cringe factor. Their house is also known as Redner's Rescued Cat Figurine Museum, MEWSEUM.
They do know that if it's a dead cat, it's not a rescued cat.
No. No, we're not talking about rescuing dead cats. We're talking about
like your title sounds like they rescue the cat that's dead and they make it into a figurine. That's just taxidermy.
I know that's taxidermy. No, I know, but that just sounds sick. But no, this is a rescued cat figurine museum. I'll put the right emphasis on the right syllable. Redner's Rescued Cat Figurine Museum. They have 4,000 of them.
Like, okay, so this isn't like cats that were dead that they took to a taxidermy to put them in funny clothes and poses. This is like porcelain figurines?
Yes. So they have.
How do you rescue a porcelain?
I don't know. Someone threw.
The title of the museum is so confusing.
So somebody threw them in the garbage and they picked them out?
Yeah, like in my head, what you just said was they collect dead cats, dress them up in funny clothes, put them in provocative like poses, and then there's your museum.
That I would pay money for. This I'm not paying.
That's why
money.
When you're asking me, I'm like, yeah, I would pay for that. That would be interesting to see. But if it's nothing but stupid porcelain dolls, no, I'm not going to go see that.
No, but okay, here's the disturbing part. They had 4,000 of them in 2020. Now. Pandemic hits, they're rooting through everybody's garbage. Now they've got 7,000 of them.
They need to see a therapist.
Yeah, that's exactly right. They need better help is what they need.
They do.
I got a discount for them. This is all we do, they said. This museum has taken over my life, Redner told WTMJ right there in Milwaukee.
Good old Channel 4.
Yep. The couple offers tours of their home on the third Sunday of each month and on the fourth Sunday if there's a holiday. They can't be bothered during the week.
At least they're trying to bring something fun to Menominee Falls.
I guess. So,
well, actually, no. There's actually a really nice restaurant in Menominee Falls that the wife and I used to go to meet a good friend of ours.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was it Greek? Yeah, it was a Greek restaurant. It was so good.
Oh, well, there you go. There's one highlight to the town.
Yeah.
And proceeds from the tours are donated to local cat shelters. Okay, I'll give them that.
So they're saving cats. Okay.
Okay, so if you're going to do it, though, give it a little effort. Give it more than just 2 days out of the goddamn month. Let's fire her up a little bit. Okay,
$15 to a cat shelter isn't that much.
No,
come on.
No, you can't even feed the cats in the cat shelter with 2 days a month.
What is this guy's life like? If this is taking up his whole life, but it's only 2 days a month it's open.
Yeah,
what is he doing for the other 28 days?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Let's fire it up a little bit. You know, your life can't be that interesting if you can only give a day or two a month.
Yeah, does it take him 28 days to rescue these cats? Like, that's a great cat figurine. I can't wait till I throw that out. Like, come on, man. Do something with your life.
Well, he's busy shopping for cat figurines. That's what he's doing with the other 29 days out of the month. The couple said their ultimate goal is to build a cat cafe and museum to house their collection, which includes 5,000 more pieces in storage.
Oh, geez.
So they have a total of 12,000 cat figurines. And oh, by the way, we want to open a cafe on top of it.
That's even creepier than owning like 12,000 cats.
Yeah, it is.
Like the cat figurine, like being called a cat lady's, it's a term.
Yeah.
But a cat figurine lady, you don't want to be called that.
No, that's just loneliness.
Yeah.
Yeah. My goal is to hopefully move all this into a coffee shop where we can have adoptive cats. So visitors can have a cup of coffee, hopefully bring home a cat, and then the museum will be a separate entity to the coffee shop, Redner said.
Well, I got to make sure when they open that, my wife doesn't go.
Yeah.
She wants to adopt everything.
Oh, God. You're in trouble now, buddy.
Oh, yeah. Trust me. Ziggy's barely trained, and she wants another one.
Really?
Oh, yeah. She's ready.
Oh, no. Get Ziggy trained first. Ziggy's got to be trained first.
Bless her heart. She has a big heart, and she wants to save everything. But
Gotta crawl before you walk.
Yeah, we don't need another one yet.
Yeah. The couple first started collecting cat figurines in 2018, so they're relatively new to the game, and they have 12,000.
12,000 in 4 years. Good for them.
Yeah.
Yes, now I see why his life's a little obsessive.
Yeah, I see that too. And they now visit various thrift stores, rummage sales, and flea markets every weekend to find new pieces for their museum. The pair said they also hope to eventually take the Guinness World Record for largest collection of cat-related items.
There's a useless record.
That's not worth the paper it's printed on. No. The record is currently held by Carmen D.
Wait, someone owns the record already? Come on.
Yeah, there's a record. Cat-related items, not figurines. I think they probably hold the figurine item or figurine record. The record is currently held by Carmen D. Aldana, who owns 21,321 items.
I noticed she's single.
Yes, she is. She's available, fellas, although not emotionally available. She's just physically available. Although maybe not. She may be surrounded by all her items. You may have to wade through the shit with a front loader to get to her, but eventually, if you do make contact with her, she may sidle up to you. You'll have to be wearing a cat costume though in order to get her attention.
Yeah, you'd have to purr a lot.
Yep, that's essentially it. So that's what's going on there in your old home state of Scotty.
Glad they're not disappointing. There's a reason we left.
That'll do it for Supernatural News for this week. Bruiser, where are you going to be? I know this weekend you're going to be dodging asteroids and staying at home, but where are you going to be?
This whole month I'm excited for. I'm going back to Kansas, Kansas City. I'll be in Springfield, Missouri. I'm going up to Tennessee, and I posted they gave me the match graphic. I mean, I posted it, and a listener actually I'm very excited to go to the show. It's in my backyard to meet the co-host of my favorite podcast.
Nice.
Yeah. I can look his name up while we look. But yeah, so that's Tennessee. And then I got, I'm in Salisbury, Maryland for AML with the good old Arn Anderson. North Carolina, not Maryland. North Carolina. My bad. North Carolina.
By way of Maryland.
Yes.
Yes.
Let me see if I can find that gentleman's name.
I love the fact that Mrs. Bruiser knows your schedule better than you do.
Well, if it wasn't for her, I'd be going to the wrong shows all the time,
good.
and I'd be getting paid the wrong amount of money.
Uh-oh.
And yeah, it would just be horrible. I would be a mess.
Oh, good for her. Yeah,
she keeps me in. Here it is. What does he? No, it's not. I don't know where it is. I'll have to find it.
That's all right. So, Salisbury, North Carolina is where you're going to be as well?
Yeah, with good old Arn Anderson. I'm very excited to
really
be on the show with him. Him and his son, yes.
Wow.
So Timothy D.D. Chappell is what it said. He says, so am I, because I said I was excited for this match. He says, so am I, because it's in my backyard, and I'll get to meet a host from one of my favorite podcasts. So, Timothy Chappell, thank you very much. I can't wait to meet you and tell the cruiser about our experience when I meet you.
Yeah. All right. Well, there you go, Tim. I hope you have a good time at the show. That sounds cool. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a great match he's going to see, too. I'm very excited for it.
Yeah.
It's a lucha-style match. Woo.
You're going to wrestle lucha style?
You know what? I've had so many people message me since the graphic was released. If you wrestle lucha, my mind will be blown. I know how to wrestle that style. You know, I'm the adoptive nephew of Dragon Lee, or adoptive uncle of Dragon Lee.
Really?
He calls me uncle. Yeah, he calls me Uncle Bruiser. He calls my aunt or my wife Aunt.
Really?
Yeah. So I know lucha. I can do lucha. I'm gonna bust something out and blow people's minds and break the internet.
I'm impressed. I want to see film of this. Yeah.
All
right. Hey, you just blew my mind today.
Yeah, I've done lucha. You and I were talking yesterday off air about Bandito, and I've done lucha spots with him.
Well, there you go.
Yeah,
probably better than Bandito after that Ric Flair's last match card this past weekend. Yeah.
But that's where I'll be, and then I'll be training every Wednesday at the AML Training Center. So if there's people that are wanting to be a wrestler or whatever, look up AML Wrestling.
I am a trainer there.
Right on, right on. All right.
And there's actually, to bring it back to the paranormal.
Yes. Yeah.
I found an urban legend because I told you I'm looking into little urban legends around here.
Yep.
There's a Lincoln Academy. It's about 10 minutes from my house, and supposedly a girl was viciously murdered here. And at night, you can see her ghost hanging from the tree.
Really?
So I'm going to do some research, and I'm going to try to make it out there and see what I can see and do a little bit of an investigation at my own.
Right.
Yeah.
Was that her right now that we just heard?
Oh no, that's Mrs. Bruiser. Yeah, I'm still trying to convince her because, like I told you, she's got that sensitive part, and if I can take her, this is where it's supposed to happen. And she looks at me and goes, "We gotta go." I'm like, "Nope, we're staying because I know something's gonna happen."
Yep, that's right. Yeah, it sounds like Mrs. Bruiser's almost like your paranormal bloodhound. You just take her with, and
she is, but she doesn't want to accept it. So I keep trying to tell her, "You're given a gift for a reason."
That's right. Yeah.
I like that. My paranormal bloodhound.
Paranormal bloodhound.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm gonna call her that from now on. You're my paranormal bloodhound.
Don't tell her you got it from me. I'll never be allowed to come down and visit you. That's for sure. I want to remind people too. End of the month, end of August here, is Michigan Paracon, and you guys get your tickets. There are very few tickets left for this thing. I know I'm probably sending you to what may eventually be a dead end here, but there are very few tickets left for Michigan Paracon. But I'm telling you, get your tickets right now. I'm going to include a link for Michigan Paracon in the description of the show. I'm going to be there. Mally Fox is going to be there end of August. And I'm hoping next year, Bruiser, to have you with me as well at Michigan Paracon.
I'm ready for any Paracons. You know me.
Yep.
I can work it into my schedule. Because then we get to see the people that we're talking to. You know, I love mingling with our fans.
Yep.
You know,
so, God willing and the creek don't rise, we'll have Bruiser with us next year at Michigan Paracon. It's August 25th to the 27th this year out in Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan. And it is chock-a-block full of anybody that you can ever imagine wanting to meet out in Michigan. The guys from Ghost Hunters TV show will be there. You've got Ghost Brothers will be out there. Myself and Tim Weisberg will be doing a presentation called Stories of the Cursed, Strange, and Silly. So there'll be experiences of, let's just say, stories that have been passed on to us through the paranormal media throughout the years that he and I have both been in paranormal radio and podcasting. So that presentation is Friday, August 26th, which happens to be this guy's birthday.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I get to entertain you all on the morning of my birth. So there you go. That'll be fun. Looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to seeing Tim as well. Believe it or not, I got to give Tim the red belly in a ring in IWI. I chopped him. I gave him a knife edge chop across the belly in IWI a few years ago. I won't do it again this year. I promise.
That'd be a great way to end the
wouldn't it though?
Talk you're doing, yeah. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm Tim Dennis.
Woo! and then run like hell. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to working with Tim again at Michigan Paracon. So Friday morning is the talk with Tim there at Michigan Paracon. So 25th to the 27th, we're looking forward to having a good time at Michigan Paracon. So I encourage you all to get your tickets. SaultStMarie.com. That's Sue as in SAULT. StMarie.com. STE Marie.com. Get your tickets right now. I'll have a link in the description of the show. Want to thank Microdose Gummies for the sponsorship of the show today. Once again, folks, get your gummies. Having problems with pain, anxiety, sleep. If you're not getting your sleep at night, you want a creative boost. Get that creative boost by using Microdose Gummies. Help with your workout, with recovery. Use those Microdose Gummies. Whatever it is you need, get your Microdose Gummies. Are available nationwide. The amount of THC in these Microdose Gummies is below the legal limit. So it's available to ship in all 50 states. It's available nationwide, like we said. To learn more about microdosing THC, go to microdose.com. Use the code DARKNESS to get free shipping and 30% off your first order. Again, the link is in the show description, but microdose.com is where you go to learn more and use that code DARKNESS to get your microdose gummies. That's going to do it for today's program. Tomorrow on the show, he's got a hard name to produce. He's in Finland, Bruiser. But we're going to be talking about lights of Finland, about witchcraft of Finland, and some mysterious secrets in Finland. And I'll leave it at that. We're going to get into some strange and mysterious secrets having to do with, let's put it, Europe at that. And we're going to go to the other side of the pond. But we're going to talk about the mysterious lights, the healing arts, about witchcraft, and much, much more having to do with Finland tomorrow.
Sounds exciting. You can't wait to hear it.
Yeah, so that's tomorrow right here on the Best in Paranormal Podcasting. For Beer City Bruiser, I'm Tim Dennis, and this has been Darkness Radio.